So welcome everyone to the 2022 virtual engineering competition hosted as part of National Engineering Month by Professional Engineers Ontario York Chapter in partnership with Ontario Society of Professional Engineers. This is the junior level, grade 8 to 10. Thank you all so much for your outstanding interest in this competition. We're really looking forward to everyone's presentation today. So before we get started, I would like to begin by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of the lands that we each call home, that we are on today. While we meet today on a virtual platform, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we each call home. We do this to affirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. In York Region, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, Mississauga of the Credit First Nation, and Mississauga people that call this land home. Please join me in a moment of reflection to acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past, and to consider how we are and can each, in our own way, try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. A couple of housekeeping items before we begin. Please make sure you mute your mics and turn off your webcams, and turn them back on only for your team presentations or when instructed. Note that the competition will be recorded and will be uploaded. And please keep your questions until the end of the chapter presentation, more so at the end. Most likely your presentation question will be answered by what we present. In terms of the agenda today, we're going to go through the introduction, and then we will hear our keynote by our 2020 PO York Chapter Engineering Entrance Scholarship winner, Taraka Sivasabasan. And then we will, after that, go through to the team presentations and judging, and then lastly end with closing remarks. Thank you so much to our partners at Ontario Society of Professional Engineers. Maslina and Marianne are here with us today for organizing them and supporting us in this event. Please check out the other National Engineering Month events at nemontario.ca. There's still some left since March is not quite over yet. So now I will hand the floor over to Sammy, who is our MC, to present the rest of the presentation.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. It is important to note that there are so many types of engineers, and they all must be licensed to practice within the province. Next slide, please. So about the PEO York chapter, we hold events, and some events that may interest you are the Engineering Entrance Scholarship and the Mathletics competition. So be sure to check those out. Now, here we have some photos of previous events. Okay, our keynote speaker was the recipient of the 2020 PO York Chapter Scholarship and is now a second-year mechanical engineering student at U of T. I will now be handing over the floor over to Taraka Sivasabasan. Taraka?
Hello, I will share my screen first. Here we go. Okay, so I'll reintroduce myself. Hello, everyone. My name is Taraka Sivasabasan, and I am a second-year mechanical engineering student at U of T. I'll speak upon my experiences on what it's like to be an engineering student, and I'll be telling you 2 stories. I hope these stories will keep you motivated to continue pursuing engineering, no matter what challenges come your way. The first story that I will be sharing is the time where I felt scared to be curious and to ask questions. As an engineering student, I have worked on pretty cool projects, which include making solar cars and rockets and design teams. As I've mentioned, I was part of a solar car design team where many engineering students, as you can see on the picture on the right, you can see that a lot of engineering students come together to create a solar car in 2 years and race this car in Australia. Again, on the right-hand side, you can see the racetrack from the top of Australia to the south end of Australia. I thought this seemed like a really fun project, but when I first joined the team, I was asked to connect a lot of wires to make sure that the wheels of the car can spin and stop. The problem is that I didn't understand anything at all. And on top of that, I spent 8 hours staring at this picture, as you can see on the left-hand side, trying to understand what was going on. To say the least, I didn't make much progress. I was really afraid to ask questions because everyone seemed very smart. So I was really intimidated because of that. I was really worried that I would ask way too many questions. And finally, I decided to ask one question, and that became more and more. But the people around me were always willing to help. I have at least asked 10 people around me multiple questions to see how this has been done. The lesson that I have taken here is that there is no shame in asking a lot of questions and being curious, especially when you are new at something. And when you're new at something, there shouldn't be that expectation that you should know everything around you. The next story that I'll be sharing with you is about what I had wished I had known in high school. In high school and even grade 8, I always gravitated towards courses that sound really fun, such as drama, family studies, media arts, and music. But I wasn't really curious about the courses that sound kind of technical, such as technology classes and computer science. I thought they seemed kind of boring. I definitely learned this experience with my dad. When selecting for courses for the first time, my dad encouraged me to take a course called Exploring Technologies. But honestly, I was super hesitant. After a lot of convincing, I decided to take it, and by far it was my favorite course in grade 9. As you can see on the right, that is actually an electric car that I made in grade 9, and it was super cool to see how an electric circuit can make a car move, and which is why I actually pursued engineering. And also the second time when I was choosing a course in grade 11, my dad pursued me to try taking computer science. But again, same thing. I thought it was really boring and it wouldn't be my type of course. After a lot of convincing, I took it and I really enjoyed the course a lot. It felt like every day I come to class and I felt like I was problem solving and solving some sort of puzzles, which was really fun. So the lesson that I have learned through this is that it's important to have an open mind to trying new things, even if it doesn't seem like your type of course. In this case, computer science and technology. Moving on, I would like to also touch the importance of having diversity and inclusion in engineering. I noticed that I feel like a normal engineering student while in university because I see in my class the wide range of races, and ethnicities, and seeing a lot of females in class where 10 years ago, I know that there were sometimes only 10% of females that enter engineering. I'm happy to say that there are many initiatives going around in Canada to increase the number of females entering engineering and supporting Black and Indigenous students to pursue their dreams. I would also like to add that if you're enjoying this design competition or even understanding the way the world works around you, I really encourage you to take physics during your 11th and 12th grade. I also wish you all of the best of luck on this competition, and I hope you continue your passions. Thank you.
Thank you, Tharaka. That was really interesting. The electric, I wish I could build one of those. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So here's the problem statement that many of you are probably familiar of. Students were to design a green building in Newmarket and given a vacant lot of land. Next slide, please. Okay, so we're just going to cover the rules of the competition. Number one, please follow the time limit of 8 minutes for each presentation. And please use proper naming convention. Please ensure that your webcam is on when it is time to present. And please no interruptions while others are trying to present. Question and answer period is open for judges' questions only. And if you have finished presenting, we encourage those of you to stay out of respect and to learn from the other groups. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, so the prizes. Each breakout room will have a first and second place winner. First place team, each member will receive a $100 gift card. The second place team each member will receive a $80 gift card. Next slide, please. Judges will be split into 2 rooms. Room 1 will be Howie, Jim, Marsha, and Sajitha, while room 2 will be Frank, Joe, Lita, and Oliver. We kindly ask that once the competition is over, that each participant spend a short amount of time to complete the feedback survey sent via email. Upon completion of the survey, your name will be entered in a chance to win a $50 gift card. The results will be released on by April 10th. And clarifying questions about the competition, please feel free to use the Zoom chat feature. Next slide, please. Okay, and now I will hand it back to Sharon.
Okay, so Team Brisk, get ready to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hi, I'm Catherine.
Hannah. And Jamie.
We are Team Brisk, and we are very excited to share our presentation on how we plan to solve environmental gentrification with you today.
Next. Minimizing environmental impact and improving well-being of residents was essential in our design, in our development. According to the Social Planning Network of Ontario, 9.1% of Newmarket inhabitants live in poverty. Environmental development poses a challenge to affordability of these places. According to Zillow, in the real estate market, you could expect to see up to 2% increase in
Is it me or did the presenter cut out there?
I think she cut out, Sharon.
Yeah, I lost audio.
Can you hear me again?
Yes, okay.
Yep.
Pick up where you left off.
Where did I leave off?
You were at Zillow.
Zillow. So I said, according to Zillow, in real estate market, you could expect to see up to 2% increase in price in eco-residents. Therefore, low income.
Should we have another speaker take over this part?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Catherine, did you want to start from Zillow again?
Yeah, sure. According to Zillow, in the real estate market, you can expect to see up to a 2% increase in price in eco-residents. Therefore, low-income communities often struggle to stay in place when these developments raise property value and make an environment more suitable for wealthier individuals and families. Next slide.
Our goal is to lower rent costs and make our green development accessible to a wider range of socioeconomic statuses, while maintaining the environmentally friendliness. We have done so by designing a building that will make use of the most cost-effective and energy-efficient materials. We have also added multiple amenities to improve resident mental health as well as community well-being. Next slide.
In order to reduce living costs, we have incorporated electric tankless water heaters. Tankless water heaters have many advantages, such as unlimited hot water, energy efficiency, and low chance of failure. The fact that they are tankless means that there's a very low chance of leak. Tankless water heaters last up to 20 years, so replacements do not happen often. Traditional heaters waste about 40 to 50% of the power they consume, whereas tankless water heaters save 27 to 50% of costs. Monthly fees for conventional heaters can reach up to $760. Tankless water heaters only cost from $205 to $388 per month. So in a short time, tankless water heaters will pay for themselves. Next slide. Radiate heating is another environmentally friendly way to reduce living expenses. Radiate heating consists of wires under the floorboards that heat the room from the ground up. Heating from the ground up allows the heat to rise naturally instead of having to be forced through the air using ducts. A typical duct heating system can lose up to 40% of air put out by your heating or cooling system. This heating system saves about 50% on heating expenses per month and requires minimal maintenance. With easy installation, uniform heating, and noiseless operation, radiant heating is highly efficient. Next slide.
To reduce cooling costs, we'll have ductless mini split air conditioners. Ductless air conditioners can save 30% of energy that gets lost in ducts. Typically, the cost of air conditioning can be up to $211.20 a month. Saving 30% can bring down the cost to $147.80 a month. Weather strips will also be added to our windows. Weather strips keep interior heat air inside and keep the heat out. This will better insulate our building. Next slide. Electricity is a large factor in living expenses. Solar panels are a good way to reduce the cost. They are costly upfront, however, they'll benefit you in the long run. Solar panels are a green source of energy, which makes it both sustainable and environmentally friendly. Using solar panels, we can reduce the electricity bill by $13.88. LED light bulbs will also be installed. They are more energy efficient than conventional light bulbs, and they use 75% less energy and can last 25 years longer. All the additional equipment will help form a more energy efficient space. By becoming more energy efficient, we can limit the amount of greenhouse gas emissions created by our building. Next slide.
To get a sense of the retail stores in the area, we made a 2-kilometer circle around the site and took note of any stores that fell in the area. This gave us a sense of what stores this community would most benefit from. Next slide. The stores we chose to put on our retail floor is a thrift store, a food bank, rented commercial space, and a commercial kitchen. We added a thrift store because it supports the community and are able to save money on good
You cut out again. Should I take over again?
Yeah, go ahead, Catherine.
Okay.
job for people with low income. This commercial kitchen will also allow renters to continue making money off of catering while abiding to health and safety. We made a general commercial renting area for any businesses looking for a place to sell their goods and services. Next slide.
Mira, you cut out after you started talking about thrift stores, if you could just repeat.
Sorry?
I'm just going to repeat the part about thrift stores since we got cut out. Thrift stores support the community and are able to save money on good condition items. The thrift store will include a lendery.
A lendery is a library where items such as home appliances and tools can be loaned on a temporary basis, reducing the need for wasteful spending. We also added a food bank, as it combats food insecurity that is common in low-income areas. We also added a commercial kitchen because catering is a common job for people with low income. we also recommend because catering is a common job for for people with low income. This commercial kitchen will allow renters to continue making money off of catering, while abiding to health and safety. We made a general commercial renting for any businesses looking for other good services.
Any development project has many expenses to take into consideration. With all of our environmental and well-being additions, the cost of the building increases by $3.7 million. It may seem excessive, however, it is a worthwhile investment in the community. Next slide.
The first floor of our apartment is retail, meaning that income is also part of our finances. The average price for commercial renting is $21.01 per square foot per month. This would be approximately $19,299.80 per month. The average income of a thrift store is $4,333 a month. It costs on average $30 per hour to rent out a kitchen. We expect the kitchen to be rented out for 12 hours a day, which earns about $360 a day or $10,800 monthly. You'd expect to see about $28,021 of income a month and $336,252 of income a year in total. Opening the retail while the apartment is receiving its final touches will allow construction fees to be partly paid off and for renters to have a cheaper initial fee.
30 seconds left for the presentation to account for the
This is our site plan. The building will take up 1,500 square meters on the left side of the property. For the extra space, we have decided to add sports facilities and a community garden. According to a RAND Corporation study, lower-income families are less likely to involve their children in sports due to rising costs of these extracurricular activities. These local sports facilities make athletics accessible. In the winter, the courts would be flooded and converted into skating rinks. The community garden is also vital. Having an easy way to access organic foods and social interaction with others improves health and wellness and mental health surrounding loneliness and isolation. Next slide. This is a basic floor plan of our building. The first floor is mainly retail space except for a small lobby and utilities. The second, third, fifth, and sixth floors are dedicated to apartment units. There are 14 apartment units on each floor as well as hallways, a lobby, and a mechanical room. The fourth floor will mostly be community space. Apartment buildings are usually very socially isolating. This community space would give residents a chance to socialize and get to know each other. There would also be 4 apartment units and utilities on this floor. Next slide.
Okay, sorry, this is beyond the 8-minute limit, so we're going to throw it over to the judges for questions, just for the sake of time and being fair to the other teams as well. So, judges, would you please begin your questions regarding the design to the team, and turn on your webcam. The judges will be able to review your presentations afterwards, so don't worry about, they will be able to see the content in the last slide. So judges, if you can raise your hand to impose a question, that would be great, and we can go from there. So Judge Howie, please state your question.
Hi. Awesome presentation. I really like your research and all that, considering the low cost income group. And the last slide on the building plan, I want a clarification. In the middle part, where the apartment unit is, like, is it right in the middle of the building? I am wondering, like, do they have sunlight? Do they have windows or sunlight for those mid-center apartment buildings? Units, I mean?
No, they would not.
Okay, so to compensate that, like, what would you propose for those units? Because like they don't have natural sunlight. What would be a compensation for those things?
In our building, there are social spaces, and there's also outside space that they can go to if they wanted to get more sunlight.
Okay, I see.
Any other judges with questions?
If not, I have a few follow-up. Well, I really like the idea on the efficiency of heating and also the cooling part. So my question, one thing about I hear you say those radiant heating. Is it a wired base or it is a heating pipe? I heard wiring. I don't know if I misheard that, but I saw on the diagram it says heating pipes. So I want a clarification, double checking.
Yeah, so radiant heating can come in either water pipes or electric heating, but we opted for electric heating because we can use our solar power to supply for it, and we don't have a sustainable water source. Right. So that way it can be more sustainable.
Okay, good. Judges, any other question before I slide in another question?
Oh, Marcia. Judge Marcia has a question. Judge Marcia, please go ahead.
Hi, that was a very good presentation by all of you. In terms of how did your team decide on the area of the building in relations to the rest of the amenities on the property?
We designed it in a way where the building would kind of be out of the way of the other amenities, and how the amenities would be accessible for the community and you wouldn't have to go through the building in order to get to them. So we just kind of wanted to keep the two separate.
Great, thank you.
I think we have time for one more question. So Judge Jim, please go ahead.
Yes, as I said, good presentation. Have you made any consideration for vehicle parking for those residents that have cars?
Yes, we did. So we were going to have parking underground under where the building is, because there's nothing there currently. But we didn't include it in our presentation because we wanted to focus more on things more closely related to our topic.
Okay, with the underground parking, would you consider charging for electric vehicles?
That would definitely be a consideration because that would very much encourage more sustainable forms of transport. So yeah, we'd probably most likely include that in our parking.
Very good, thank you.
Great. Thank you, judges, for your questions. I will be now moving on. And thank you, Team 1, for your wonderful presentation. Again, the judges will review your site plan and your presentation and provide a score with that in conjunction with your presentations. Thank you so much for your awesome work. Now, I'd like Team 2 to get ready. So I will begin. Please begin your presentation in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The Hilltop Deluxe Project by Nanya, Adeline, Vanessa, and Kevin. At Beckett Farm, we have used a collaborative and integrated design shred to approach this exciting project. Table of contents. Buildings emit about 40% of all carbon in the world. If we are truly serious about our COP26 commitments to secure global net zero by 2050, we need to make green and sustainable building practices an obligation rather than an option. A building today takes 30 years to offset the amount of carbon emitted during its creation. Sustainable design practices, materials, and energy sources can help us achieve UN Sustainable Development Goals 3 and 11. We'll begin with offsite construction to increase sustainability, efficiency, quality, and safety, and to decrease expenses and labor. After removing the top layer of reusable soil, we will use recycled steel and precast cement-free concrete slabs to make pile foundations for the building. Pile foundations are eco-friendly columns placed underground where the load carrying capacity is higher. Recycled steel will be used for the foundation and the frame as it maintains the same strength and reduces the amount of waste sent to landfills. Carbon-created cement-free concrete slabs will be used because they're cheaper, have better compressive strength, and freeze-thaw resistance. Walls will be made out of rammed earth since they're incredibly strong, non-toxic, and resistant to fire, weather, pests, and moisture. They also have high thermal mass, sound insulation, and require little care. Our green walls will work as a double insulation, reduce CO2 and release O2. Moreover, countertops and tiles made out of recycled quartz would provide thermal insulation as well as indentation, fire, mold, moisture, and termite resistance.
We will never lose with our fire. We will build. We will build metal roofs which are
Perhaps you use the other mic. Try to use another mic and see if it works. You need to unmute yourself.
Ellen, you have to turn off your computer. You have to turn off your computer sound because it's coming out of Anaya's computer and into yours when you unmute. So why don't you just speak at Anaya's computer and turn off your mic on your computer?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, much better. Oh, unmute this one. Yes. Now speak. Yeah, we hear you. Yep, this works.
We will build metal roofs which are fire retardant, durable, long-lasting, and resistant to extreme weather conditions, wildlife, and fungus. Opal glass windows will be added to reduce heat transmission. Reclaimed wood for cabinetry will decrease lumber in landfills and is easily accessible. Furthermore, we acknowledge that individuals prefer to live in spacious areas. Therefore, we have bedrooms built on a small second floor with high ceilings. We will have window walls for our first retail floor so we won't block the view of nearby houses. To achieve sustainability, we plan to use geothermal energy and microalgae for heating and cooling. Although microalgae seems like an unusual source of energy, the biointelligent quotient BIQ building built in 2013 in Hamburg, Germany, proved its capability to heat up buildings. Microalgae is a unicellular organism with photosynthetic cells used to efficiently produce hot water, heating, and biomass. They consist of 50% non-polar lipids that can produce biomass, which can be harvested at any time. Additionally, its cells have the potential to multiply 4 times a day and are unaffected by weather conditions. We chose solar leaf photobioreactors, otherwise known as PBRs, used in the BIQ building as they use sunlight to produce biomass and solar heat energy, store energy at a lower expense, follow the sun's location, increases natural lighting, are carbon negative, and can function as a dynamic shading system. This is here. Each PBR measures 270 centimeters in height, 70 centimeters in width. It has the capacity of 24 liters containing microalgae, water, carbon dioxide, and nutrients. Periodically, bubbles of compressed air will be added to the bottom of the PBR to stimulate photosynthesis and the absorption of carbon dioxide by causing the water to flow upstream. PBRs will face south as there's lots of sunlight there. 80% of collected solar energy is used to generate 46.5 kWh of heat that has temperature around 40 degrees Celsius. 20% is used to produce almost 7 kilograms of biomass. Thus, we'll use 1,967 PBRs to generate heat and hot water for this building, as well as 13,769 kilograms of biomass, 80% of which can be generated into biogas. According to the Solar Leaf Bioreactor Acids Product Overview, 129 PBRs are able to reduce 2.5 tons of carbon dioxide emissions every year. This means that 1,967 PBRs will absorb about 39.34 tons of carbon dioxide yearly.
We will use a geothermal heating system to provide cooling and additional heating. It utilizes the constant temperature beneath the Earth's surface, which is warm in the summer and cooler in the winter. Therefore, vertical loops consisting of connected pipes will be placed 150 to 350 feet underground. Based on the temperature above the ground, the system will release a fluid that either adds or reduces heat. To heat the building, a fluid will be taken from the ground, concentrated, and sent to the building. During cooling, the fluid will be removed and put into the ground. The system has 2 times the efficiency of today's best air conditioners, since geothermal heat pumps produce nearly 12,000 BTU of cooling and heating per kWh. According to a BTU calculator, about 470,000 BTU is needed to cool the building. Hence, we decided to add 40 geothermal heat pumps. It is important for everyone, especially during this time, to feel safe. To ensure safety, there will be hand sanitizer dispensers along with disposable masks on every floor and entrance. The building will be built with 2 emergency staircases on the east and west side. An elevator will also be available on all floors. Differently able people will have access to ramps outside the building's entrance. There will be CCTV cameras posted on each floor along with security guards. Lastly, we will strictly follow safety procedures and protocols during construction.
Now, the proponents support cost of the building. Hence, we say non-explorable profit control. This has improved the project in the house. Panels could have been made out of clay using FTC, Algae Go technology, because it uses less materials and water.
Sorry, can you get closer to the mic? We can't really hear you.
We have a trail on the northeast side of the area, along with the farm. To encourage exercise, we will use an underground parking lot that consists of 3 floors, each measuring 2,300 square meters. This won't let the use of contribute to heat assembly, but eliminate stormwater runoff and manage liquid and solid waste. We decided to add Tesla charging station in the parking lot to allow the charging of the electric vehicles. We run a gardening club during spring and summer, which keep individuals adults sustainable gardening and doing in the opportunity to grow their own crop, like potatoes, carrots, beets, which are nutrient food that can be grown in Canada. We feed our packed with coatings require significantly less water, food, and carbon emission compared to animal husbandry and meat production. Therefore, we are advised to feed this leftover food, which can be made into cookies falafel to introduce a healthy and sustainable diet to all residents. The Hilltop Drugs product reserve investment because it eliminates global warming by encouraging individuals to eat and live sustainably, healthy and safely. Our objective is to present and inspire modern, sustainable life in Canada, starting from environmental friendly home to environmental reasons. We will have an implement unique energy source, green materials, exercise, security, accessibility, and healthy bio. Although construction will be costly, the impact of our climate will have on the entire industry will be phenomenal. But last but not least, we firmly believe that there is a possibility impossible. Thank you for listening to our presentation.
Great, thank you, Team 2. Now I will open up the floor to questions by the judges. And please stop remote control. I suggest all the team members, since you're all in the one place, or those who are in the one place, just gather around the mic that is on currently. Just have one person that has the mic on. That way you can just answer the question.
Okay.
Okay, so judges, do you have any questions for Team 2?
I do. It's Judge Marsha. With regards to your algae PBR, is there any waste that are created from the PBR, and how, and if so, how do you what's your plan to dispose of it, or can it be reused?
So what happens is that because algae can perform photosynthesis, can use the solar heat energy gathered from this to heat up the building as well as the water. So excess energy that we have will be placed into our geothermal heat pump with connected pipes. And then that can then be used to heat up the entire building, or when there's like any emergencies.
Does the algae go bad though? Like, or is like algae has a certain growth cycle, right? So do you have to replenish it and basically replace the spent algae, or How does the system work?
What happens is that we have actually scrubbers and like water to wash it as like the compressed air bubbles are pushing the algae to cause photosynthesis. There will also be simultaneously, there will also be like water and scrubbers to clean up the place. And then the temperature of this is closely managed by, we have a system so that it won't go bad.
Thank you.
Any other judges' questions for Team 2?
Judge Howie here. Yeah, it's a really interesting idea with the algae, like using the biomass and to reheat it. Probably Judge Marsha also like her question is kind of my question too. Like, how are you going to recharge it in a way? Because like after a while, you still like. It's just physics, right? At the end, like you give up something, you need to recharge it to regeneration. So, in terms of the recharging parts, I saw the picture of the glass and all that. So, like, how are you going to looking at the site? Where are you going to do this kind of recharging and all that, so it's not going to disturb the living space for other people, and the frequency, like consider like maybe it's just like quarterly you're doing it. So how are you considering the maintenance, all those things?
So first of all, this is like, these are the panels in our 3D model. They will be on the south wall. So they also work as like a shading, and they increase like lighting so it won't affect the residents. And then we have like an inside system for it to turn that solar heat into actual heating for the hot water and like general heating.
Okay. Yeah, I like you actually made a model of it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I saw it on the presentation. It's like, oh, that's a real thing, eh? Pretty cool.
Thank you.
Judge Jim, do you have any question?
I don't have any, no.
We have Sujitha. Judge Sujitha, please ask your last question, and after that we will need to move on to Team 3.
Sure. Yeah, it will be quick questions. It's really an interesting presentation. I just want to know, like you're saying the panels on the south side of the wall, right? So what would be the maintenance during the winter? Like how you plan to protect them, like during cold weathers and snow accumulation, those stuff?
Wait, can you repeat that? Sorry, the audio is kind of lagging. I don't know if it's on our side or yours.
Oh, can anyone hear me? Or?
We can hear you.
We hear you.
Oh, it's on our side. It's just glitchy for us. Would you mind repeating that?
Sure. Yeah. So the panels you are placing on the south wall. So how do you gonna do the maintenance during the winter? Like any issues and when the snow is accumulated, those stuff?
Actually, during the winter, since there's also sunlight, we actually found research where there's actually more sunlight during the winter. So this can work like yearly because of the thick windows. And since it can just naturally perform photosynthesis, it can work under any weather condition and any time.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Team 2 and judges. May I please, Team 3, please get ready for your presentation. And for simplicity, let's just go with the method where you say, next slide, please, and I will advance the slide. But please make sure that you tell explicitly, advance this, like next slide, please, so that I will know. And if you all happen to be in the same place, please make sure that when the person who is speaking have their mics on, but everybody else's should be off, especially if you're in the same place. Otherwise, we'll have some feedback issues and go from there. Okay. So is all of Team 3 ready?
I think we're waiting on one more.
Oh, wait, no, never mind.
Okay, so everyone is ready to go, yes? Okay, so again, to advance the slides, please say next slide, please, and then your 8 minutes begins in 3, 2, 1, go.
Painting the Skyline Green by Palace Chen, Tao Lo, Jason Zhang, and Daniel Ding. Next slide.
Executive summary. So in this presentation, we'll be focusing on 3 sections: the status quo, our proposal, and the impact. So the status quo we're currently seeing is that green buildings are becoming increasingly popular, and COVID-19 is changing architecture and design. So with these 2 things in mind, we want to tackle both these issues in our building and in that community in general. Our proposal is a 6-story building with considerations relating to sustainability and COVID-19. The green aspects we will discuss include energy efficiency, sustainable construction materials, and encouraging sustainable living, while the COVID-19 aspects include a COVID-friendly environment and an adaptive design. Our impact is over a greener community, a cleaner community, and lastly, a better community in general for the people living in that building. Next slide.
So, what is the status quo? We should take in consideration 2 facts. 1. The green building market is expected to grow 14.3% CAGR by 2027. 2. Architectural changes are needed to prevent the spread of COVID-19. We will prioritize tackling these issues in our communities and societies, such as climate change and a global pandemic. The world needs our current infrastructure to be expanded, allowing future generations a better lifestyle. Next slide.
For our first floor building design, we have a 30 by 50 meter main building with a parking lot of also 30 by 50 meters. And there's a double door entrance into a lobby area with reception. And there are 2 washrooms on opposite sides of the building, so you don't have to run to the other one if you're on the other side of the building. There is also a retail space with a 3-meter hallway that goes in between shops with shops on either side of this hallway. And there's also a 9.5 by 19.5 meter food court with a horseshoe area space for food stores to be selling food. And the exit into the park on the right is also at the food court area. There's also a 6.9 by 21.8 lounge area for all recreational things where residents can relax, do whatever things such as having a pool table, a TV, or other things that they can do to just get to know each other inside. And there's also 4 elevators that are all 0.91 meters by 1.22 meters each. 4 of them that lead to the entire building. Next slide.
I think the person presenting is on mute.
Oh, sorry. The apartment size will be 8.875 by 6, and each bedroom will be 2 by 6. In between apartments, the hallway is going to be 3 meters, and on either side of the elevator, there's going to be seating and decor. And there's 12 apartments on each floor. Next one.
So the full roof has a railing along the side and is sort of acting like a green area. So we have an 11 by 30 area for solar panels on the right, and there's also a 2-meter wide maintenance path that will be leading to it in case we need to do any repairs or fixing things with the solar panels. And there's also a 3-meter wide circular path that goes around the middle of the roof. And along with that, we have a 3-meter wide area for plants inside that path and a 9 by 5 circular area for trees in the very center. And along with that, we have a 7 by 14 lounge area with benches and a fire pit where people can just relax outside and get some fresh air. And there's also a 6 by 8 greenhouse area where people can grow plants and as well as grow food. And a 1-meter wide area of bushes next to each path and area acts sort of like a border to the path. And again, you have the elevators at the bottom, and the rest of the roof is all grass to make it more like an outside view. Next.
So the park will be 60 by 33, and each bench will be 1 by 2. The path is 3 meter and 2-way, and it'll just go around the entire park. So people can get like a nice outdoor feel, and there'll be plants and trees all around. Next one.
Our building should be mindful of our energy, so energy efficiency was a vital aspect we considered. As our main source of energy, we'll be using solar panels, which are one of the earliest form of renewable energies. Solar panels generate an electrical current by catching light particles and absorbing sunlight. They process 15 to 22% of solar energy into usable energy. Solar panel power is the cheapest source of energy in history, according to the IEA, International Energy Agency. For our heating and cooling systems, we will use heat pumps, which are an alternative to AC and furnaces. And for our hot water, we will use solar water heaters. Heat pumps are eco-friendly, reduce emissions, are electric, and minimize our carbon footprint. They move heat around rather than generating it. They can use flexible sources, such as they can go from water. The energy can come from water, air, and geothermal sources. It will be connected through ductwork, and excess heat will be released through the vent stacks. Solar water heaters have longer life expectancies than other models. They're designed for use with an electric backup water heater. We will use a direct system which will circulate water through solar collectors. The heated water will be stored in the tank and then sent to tankless water heaters or used directly. If we use heat pumps, it will total around $117,864.
Moving on to sustainable construction materials, we will be using hempcrete and hemp wool. Hempcrete as an alternative to concrete and hemp wool as an alternative to insulation. This will total to around $182,250. Hempcrete is a mixture of sand, hemp fibers, and lime. It's fire resistant, water resistant, and pest resistant. It reduces greenhouse gas emissions, and it is lightweight and easy to work with. Although we do acknowledge that hempcrete is more expensive than concrete, with it being $135 per square meter compared to $85 per square meter. We want you guys to know that we think that even though it's more expensive, it's worth it as it's more sustainable. And with any relatively new technology, the price would go down as it is becoming increasingly popular. We'll also be using Ferroc, an alternative to cement. Exact total price is unknown, but it'll definitely be cheaper than cement because it is 95% recycled. It is made from waste steel dust, which would have been normally thrown out in silica. It is 5 times stronger than ordinary Portland cement, and it reduces pollution by binding CO2. Next slide.
To encourage sustainable living, we'll have trash cans all over the park and just in general everywhere. We'll have posters of what to recycle and what not to recycle along each trash can, and there'll be bicycle lanes, bicycle racks, and electric vehicle charging stations to encourage sustainable transportation. And all around the park and in the building, there will be no littering signs.
Next slide.
Currently, there's COVID going around and we have to alter our building design to fit this, but we have multiple measures to keep a COVID-friendly environment. For example, we have distancing stickers at any sort of place where there's going to be a line or a large gathering of people, that we are able to maintain social distancing and people will be able to keep a safe distance away from each other. And along with that, we also have hand sanitizers, which will be put around elevators, stairwells, and everywhere else that is deemed necessary. So people will always have some way to clean their hands if they do not carry hand sanitizer with them on person. And we will also have hired sanitizing staff to go around sanitizing anything that will be touched regularly by a lot of people. For example, elevator buttons, as well as things like stairwells or desks. Next slide.
Please wrap up the slide because you're out of time.
All right. So the design details are open space, spaced out furniture, integrated screen dividers. Open space is just like such as parks, which will increase biodiversity. Spaced out furniture would just naturally make people social distance, and integrated screen dividers are the screen dividers we see today, but it'll be more integrated and match with the design more to make sure that people stay a far distance. And next slide, it's the last slide.
Thank you. A personal message from Palace, Tal, Jason, and Daniel. We'd like to personally thank you for this incredible opportunity of allowing us to exercise our creativity and teamwork skills to design an eco-friendly, COVID-safe building. This has been a felicitous and eye-opening learning experience for all of us. Hopefully, our innovative design will make a positive impact and will be implemented on the empty.
Okay, great. Now I'm going to open the floor up to the judges for questions. Judge Howie, please go ahead.
Hi. Great presentation. Similar question actually. About the layout, the apartment layout. For the center apartment, does it have any glass, like or windows?
No.
Okay, so that means like the center apartments unit won't have any sunlight going in.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's it. Thank you.
Hi, it's Judge Marcia. Great idea about the solar panels and the heat pumps. Where would your solar panels be located on the property? I see you have a green roof, so just wondering where the panels would be located.
So on the diagram, they are on the right of the roof, on the very right side.
Yeah, basically, on the roof, we have a reserved area specifically for solar panels. It is, I believe, a 11 by 30 meter area for solar panels, and we also have a 2 meter maintenance path that will go from the main roof to the solar panels in case we need to do any fixing or reinstalling of any.
Thanks for that. I didn't catch it in when the plan was up. Thanks.
Any other questions from judges?
I can have another one. I like the greenhouse. There's like a little greenhouse on the corner. My question is actually not for the greenhouse, but in terms of the materials, looks like the fair rock and also the hempcrete, they have a specific color comes with it, right? So I wonder like how for the building surface, are you going to do any coating or anything like that? Like fair rock by itself, since it is a steel dust, it has this distinctive kind of reddish color and all that. Like, so will you consider doing any painting or anything for those roof? Oh, no, not roof, but like the surface of the building?
Yeah, we'll definitely consider doing that because, of course, we don't want it to kind of not either like not match or the color isn't aesthetically pleasing because, of course, people will be living there and we want a good design. So yes, we will definitely be considering painting, coating.
And for those coating, like what type of coating will you be considering to use?
We're not really sure about that yet, but
like,
we could, yeah.
That would be. I hope it would be like environmental friendly kind of like painting and all that. But thanks for your feedback on that one.
Okay, we have time for one more question. So if any judges wants to ask that, please go ahead.
Okay, I'll consider one question here. In your park area, did you give any consideration to vegetable gardens or the like for the residents, where they can grow some food of their own?
Yeah, so basically there's a roof, there's a place on the roof of the building where there's a greenhouse where people can plant their own plants. I feel like the park area is more of like a public space where people can just walk around. We'll definitely plant some plants in that area, though I feel like that place would be more public. If you want to plant your own plants, we do have an area on the roof where you can do that.
I must have missed that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Team 3. Team 4, please get ready for your presentation. And again, we'll go through the same thing, which is if you need to advance the next slide, you have to verbally let me know. And if you're all in the same place but have multiple computers, make sure you mute when you're not speaking, so to reduce any feedback. Oh, great! It seems like everyone is in one place. So perfect. So that will not be an issue. Okay. So team 4, can you give me a thumbs up when you're ready? Just you can unmute yourself because you're just from a computer. Yep. And make sure you're not muted because right now you are. Okay. Your presentation begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
This is our PEO York Chapter Engineering Competition Solution by the Parkview She Panthers. This is our agenda for today. Oh, next slide, please. This is our agenda for today. We will first go over the problem statement, then site plans and models, aspects to consider, and finally retail space. This is
Next
the problem.
slide, please.
This is the problem statement. I'm sure you're already familiar with it.
Quick questions that will be
Next slide, please.
What measures will we take to keep the apartment COVID safe? What makes it sustainable and different than other apartments? How will our outdoor pool be different from regular pools and how will it be heated? Next slide, please. Here's a bird's eye view of the plot of land. Next slide, please. What makes this unique? We explored different green sources of energy to provide more variety. We created an app because it's informative, simple, limits waste to physical entry cards. We have an original and ingenious heating/cooling system for our outdoor pool. We made 3D models of the cafe and building. We have kinetic tiles that generate electricity located around the premises. Next slide, please.
Next slide, please. Okay, here's the front page of our app, Davis Drive Estates, and DDE for short. The resident would sign up here, and the oops page would show up if you signed incorrectly. Don't say anything. There is also a confirmation code that will be sent to the resident. You can continue to the home page. Next slide, please. The home page features the latest news, events in the apartment, the weather, and the daily COVID cases. We'll now be going over the site plans and models.
Next slide. Next slide, please.
Next slide. Okay, so this is the main model of the design that we've created. Next slide, please. And this is the corresponding site plan for the main design. Next slide, please. Here's the retail floor on floor 1. There's a fitness center, activity center, a life labs, and a cafe as our retail stores. Next slide, please.
Here are the pages for the retail. There's COVID testing and life labs. The fitness center provides training for all ages, and an activity room for mental and physical stimulation. Both the fitness center and activity room provide intergenerational interactions. Next slide, please.
Here's one of our resident floors. It has 15 bedroom suites, a bookshelf, as well as an interactive floor projection. There will be kinetic tiles underneath the projection, which will generate electricity. There's also a lounge area. Next slide, please. Here's the quarantine floor, which is located on the 6th floor. There are 6 quarantine rooms, as well as a supply stock-up section for each. Next slide, please. Here's the 1-bedroom plan. Next slide, please. And here's the 1+1 bedroom plan. Next slide, please. Here's the cafe model, and it is not drawn to scale. Next slide, please.
Here you can see the menu for our cafe. A few things to know about our cafe is that all beverages and items are sold in eco-friendly and biodegradable cups and containers only. As you can see, we have rather expensive products. The reason for that is because 20 to 30% of the profits go to nonprofit organizations like 360 Kids and local food banks.
To the right is the information page of the cafe for our app.
Next slide, please. Here's the underground parking space. It features accessible parking spaces near the elevators and staircase and charging ports for electrical cars. The residents would need a key card that belongs to them to enter the resident parking space. Next slide, please.
All of the maps shown in parking can be found under the residency page of our app. Next slide, please.
Aspects to consider. Next slide, please. For the gazebo, it'll be made out of wood. The playground will be wooden with limited plastic. The dog park will be produced of the same metal as the gate around the property. The garden will have flowers and plants to attract bees and can be used as a picnic area, exercising area, etc. We will have a greenhouse to help the environment and to grow food and for the cafe.
Next slide, please.
Kinetic tiles. Kinetic tiles create energy when people walk on them. There will be kinetic tiles on each floor where the activity projectors are, in the retail area on the first floor, and at the walkway outside.
There is currently a deficiency in pollen. We could solve this problem by using the greenhouse and holding a variety of flowers for bees to pollinate in. We could include calendula, purple tansies, and cucumbers, which create flowers. The cafe could then use these cucumbers to make their cucumber water. Next slide, please.
Pool. For the heating of the pool, it'll come from the exhaust pipe. The exhaust goes through a filter and the air meets a reverse valve. There will be a blockade that moves depending on the airflow. The cool air gets released and meets the temperature, and the hot air meets the temperature room. The opposite happens with the cooling, but it comes from the air conditioning. Depressurizer. We have a depressurizer to let out air so the temperature room won't rupture. Insulation. Rigid panel insulation under and around the structure of a pool can save energy and costs. Next slide, please. This is a general overview of the pool heating system and how the air gets to the temperature room. Next slide, please. This is a close-up of the reverse valve. The hot air goes through the joint pipe and the cool air gets released. And the opposite happens with the cooling. Waste sorting. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Waste sorting. Rainwater reusing. Industrial-sized eave stores will collect rainwater and go through a pipe. The water will go through multiple filters to make sure there's no harmful substances, and then the water will be turned into mist for watering for our greenhouse. We will also have composters that can be filled with dog waste to be turned into fertilizer to help grow food. Next slide, please.
More information on waste sorting can be found under residency in our app.
Next slide, please.
Environmental friendliness of materials. The frame of the building will be made out of stainless steel, bricks and plaster for exterior walls, cellulose for insulation, porcelain tiles as flooring, and straw bale and plaster for interior walls. Next slide, please. More information about this can be found under the About section of our app. Next slide, please.
We also have a club for outdoor fitness, which is connected to the indoor fitness center. It is for all ages and is held at the garden area. It helps with ventilation inside the apartment because people are not breathing in and out all the time. The activities include yoga, workouts, and etc. Next slide, please.
More information about this can be found under outdoor activities in a residency app.
Next slide, please.
Health, safety, security, and accessibility considerations. For the ventilation on the retail floor, there will be windows and direct vents from each retail section to the outdoors. This ensures a constant airflow and prevents the spread of COVID-19. On the resident floors, there will be windows and vents in each unit, windows at each landing in the staircase, and an event system for each floor.
Next slide, please.
For the pool safety, by the pool there are trained lifeguards and swimmer support supplies like life jackets, kickboards, etc. For the COVID-19 protocols, there is one household in an elevator at a time, social distancing, a mask mandate, COVID-19 testing that could be done at the life labs, and quarantine rooms, which you would have to get a positive on a professional testing to be admitted into.
Next slide, please.
Please wrap up this last slide because you're out of time.
More information about this can be found under...
No! There's a villager here. Why is a villager here?
Under the COVID section of our app.
Thank you. Thanks, team 3 for your, team 4 for your presentation. Unfortunately, we're out of time. But the judges does have access to all of the presentations and site plans. So I will now begin open the floor up to the judges for questions. Yes, Judge Howie.
This time I kind of pause and wait for other judges to go ahead first. Okay, I really like the idea of using the exhaust from the apartment building. Like my follow-up question to heat up the pool area. So the temperature room, is it like a contained indoor space for the pool?
Okay, so the temperature room is like a little crevice that surrounds the whole pool, and the exhaust that comes from the building would go into the temperature room to slowly heat up the pool.
Okay, so like it's just around that pool, and that pool is outdoor.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. And in terms of the exhaust, since you're using the exhaust from the apartment building, like will you do some kind of a treatment before you use the exhaust gas?
Yes. So before it reaches the reverse valve, there is a filter. So when the exhaust goes through the filter, it's filtered air, which is still heated. And even if it's not being used, the filtered air is being released instead of the exhaust.
Okay, so you are using the filter to get rid of any kind of like say viruses or anything like that that's going through. So that means like there will be maintenance, I would assume, right? Like a frequent maintenance for that filter. Okay, thanks. Other judges.
Other judges, would you? Yes. Okay.
Sorry. Good presentation. I have one quick question. Like, so how you are heating the water? Like, is that the energy you get from kinetic tiles? Or like what's the source of electricity? Sorry, I missed in the presentation, but you're mentioning the heating the system, but how you are getting that power from like?
So the heating comes from the apartment. So the apartment's being heated like with a regular heating system, and exhaust would like we mentioned earlier, exhaust would come out of a pipe and that would travel through other pipes to get to our pool with.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
We still have time for one more question, so please, one of the judges, please ask a question.
It's Judge Marsha. I noticed that you have charging stations in the parking lot. That's great to hear. How is your overall system? Is that all provided from the Kinetic Tiles, the energy from that, or how is it being, charged out to for the people using it?
Our primary source of energy comes from like the municipal government, but the kinetic tiles are just a secondary source. So we're not using as much energy and electricity.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question.
I really like the idea of the kinetic tiles. Is it located on every floor, like even inside the apartment? Like you're going to charge the electricity wherever there is a human moving in the apartment building?
So the kinetic tiles are located on each floor. We have activity projectors. So when the residents are using the activity projectors, it consumes energy from that. In the retail area where there's people walking in and out, and in the walkway outside of the apartment complex.
Thanks. Very cool idea.
Great. Thank you very much, Team 4. The judges will review both your presentation and your site plan as with all the other teams when scoring, but great job. And Team 5, please get ready to present your presentation. Okay, so Team 5, would you, again, please make sure to say next slide, please, when you're advancing the slide. And for your particular team, you have a video, so please explicitly say, please showcase the video, and then I will play the video. Be very explicit about when you're changing the slides and playing the video so that I know what to do. And please mute when you're not speaking.
Okay.
Okay, is Team 5 ready? All good? Okay, so your 8 minutes starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Site proposal plan by Cynthia, Dina, Lilia, and Hannah. Next slide, please. Here is our site plan, which we will dive further into in our Minecraft video. Next slide, please.
Actually,
next.
Yeah.
Video, please.
So here's our Minecraft world. These are the geothermal pipes, the electric wires, and here's the park outside. We have water drainage basins and solar lights. Inside, we have the lobby, which is has the shops, the convenience stores, the library, the cafe, and the green walls to promote well-being. We have fire hydrants for everyone's safety. And yeah, you can see a better view of the green walls here and the receptionists. Here we have different posters different, promoting different charity events such as the food bank. And here are the stores. We have Shoppers Drug Mart and PetSmart because we thought in that neighborhood there wasn't many of those. So we thought this would help attract more people. On each floor, we have 12 apartments, 6 on each side, so all sides have windows. Here's a model apartment. This is one of the designs for the apartments. Some of them might have like a little bit of a different design, but they're all about the same size. And if we continue this way, we have the greenhouse on the roof and the solar panels. In the greenhouse, we decided to give each apartment their own section to grow their own vegetables, but we use some of the sections to grow our own foods for the cafeteria to promote healthy living and an overall sense of community. Back here, around the back of the building, we have the bus stop to help with transportation and the parking and the ticket booth. In the parking, we have the fire hydrants and the electricity ports to encourage cars and disabled parking. We thought a Minecraft design would help us visualize and showcase our design better.
Next slide, please. 7 features serving property users. For features serving pedestrians and car drivers, we provided electricity ports for charging and to reduce the production of greenhouse gases, applied bus stops to encourage public transportation. Furthermore, we also installed bike slots to rent out bikes and segways around the plaza to increase enjoyment. QR codes and signs are also set around the plaza to further promote eco-transportation such as carpooling. Next slide, please. To deal with the garbage created on site, we have invested in Lomi, which turns all household green garbage into soil that will be used in greenhouses and other planting activities. Furthermore, we plan to expand waste disposable areas, as well as color code them to reduce confusion and encourage residents to properly separate different garbage types. Moreover, tote bags will also be provided at entrances and exits, and reusable utensils will also be provided in the cafeteria. Since our apartment is pet-friendly, biodegradable pet waste bags will be provided at the entrances. These will be disposed of in the waste disposable area and will be used to fertilize the green roof. Furthermore, our apartment also welcomes all pets, though they are also required to be on a leash at all times while outside of their units. Next slide, please. Garbage cans will be placed along the back of the building. Additionally, we will host a second-hand clothing exchange every 2 months, as well as food banks throughout the year to provide food for those in need. We are also installing recreational centers to promote a healthy living style away from electronics, helping the well-being of the residents. To improve safety and availability, fire extinguishers and aid machines are also provided throughout the building.
Next slide, please.
Energy efficiency of the building. The building structure will be made out of steel for durability, and the exterior is made out of sand lime bricks for extra strength. The interior is composed of drywall and wool rock for better structure and soundproofing. The windows of the building will be made out of special fiberglass that resists the sticking of dust. Around the windows, we place fiberglass to insulate heat for reducing electric use. The electricity cords are made out of copper since it is cheap and efficient. Next slide, please. As per heating and use of hot water, we will be using geothermal energy, the tube extending deep underground to the closest geothermal site, which is Broadway Roger water well drilling, more than 150 kilometers away. Electricity wires will also be transported underground to increase safety for residents in cases of storms. Next slide, please.
Environmental design. The features that we added for the remainder of the site is the lobby and a recreational area to provide a safe and welcoming place for all residents. The lobby is completely eco-friendly with green walls surrounding the premises. We also attach an underground garage that is secured by a resident's key card used to open the entrance of the garage and the doors of the apartment units. These garages contain designated parking to the residents for organization and also differently abled parking with bigger spacing to accommodate. The locks for each unit can be opened in multiple ways, such as the previously mentioned key card, a regular key, and a fingerprint recognition system. Other features that are inputted to serve the pedestrians are wide elevators and corridors for a more spacious area. With the purpose of being an inclusive and safe environment, ramps, stairs, elevators, larger text, and braille are inputted. The cafeteria will serve local food as well as food grown in our own greenhouse. Online and in-person tickets will be sold to the residents to dine at the cafeteria with their tickets. Next slide, please. Okay, to increase eco-friendliness of the building, we incorporated a green roof on one side and full solar panel coverage on the other. To water the green roofs, we installed barrels to contain stormwater, and they are delivered through a special mechanism that once every week, the water collected will be pumped into the greenhouse. Furthermore, we are incorporating moss carpets to filter air. Natural lighting is also gained by having the windows installed on the east and west side of the building to increase sunlight coverage. Solar lights will also be installed in apartments and hallways whenever there's a dormer associated. These will be powered by the solar panels on the half of the roof. All other lights will be motion sensing to converse energy. The emergency lights will be made from neon lights installed instead of heavy metal aluminum usually associated in buildings. Next slide, please. Thanks for reviewing our pitch.
Great, thank you, Team 5. I will now give the floor over to the judges for the questioning. Judges, please unmute yourselves and raise your hand if you have any questions. Judge Howie, please go ahead.
Hi, it's me again. I really like your Minecraft presentation. Like that way, it was really something. You're using what you know to present the actual building and the complex actually. And in terms of the what was that? I noticed you mentioned about the safety side of things, especially when you say the car park also has fire extinguisher. That's a good thing because like electrical vehicle, like, you never know, right? Sometimes. So for the safety plan, is there an evacuation area for the complex? Seems like it looks like this building is able to handle quite an amount of population in there. So like, how would you handle those evacuation plans?
So there's a lot of evacuation signs for that. We just couldn't show it in the Minecraft floor plan because it is a limited device. But there are different floor plans escape, and there are stairs that lead downstairs to a safe area outside.
And in the back of the building, where like the car usually goes, we have a special area for that beside the bus stop. So like you can evacuate there.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, good afternoon. One thing I noticed is you've got your refuge, your garbage, etc., divided out. Will the municipality have the different collection methods for these? Different, you had 5 things there.
Yes, the municipality would also be aware of the changes we're making. So we would make it easy not only for the residents, but for the municipality as well once they're taking the garbage away. Just like how houses have the different bins, we would also have bins that say what is what, so that it would make it easier on the residents and those taking the garbage away.
Good. Second point, I'm going to sneak another one in here. You mentioned fire extinguishers for safety. I believe in apartment systems, they use a sprinkler system rather than fire extinguishers. Did consider that sprinklers?
We also considered the sprinklers, and they are available throughout the building. It's just that we felt like the fire extinguisher would be a better representation of the miles we're taking, because I feel like though they can be very reliable and helpful in some situations, I don't think the fire would be big enough to affect the whole building. Like, for example, if it's just a kitchen fire, it would be easier to just like extinguish that fire than to just sprinkle down the whole building.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
I saw that Judge Marcia had a question. Judge Marcia, please go ahead.
Actually, Jim asked my question, so okay. I don't have a question anymore.
We still have at least time for at least one more question. So please, any of the judges, feel free to raise your hand and I'll call on you to ask the question for Team 5. Going once, going twice.
Okay, I can ask one. In terms of geothermal system, where is that located on your site plan?
It's not located on the site plan, but it is like because it's 150 kilometers away. We thought it would be too much like hassle to make our own geothermal energy plant, so we
tried to get the closest one that produced the most amount of energy. And I think the pipes are on the site plan.
Yeah, they
the
are.
Pipes
like
that lead up to
building.
They are on the site plan. It's just that the actual station would be like further away.
So the geothermal heat is like transported to this site from another state, like the generation station. Okay. Yeah, good. Remember, for those fire extinguisher, it can handle the electric fire. Like there are electric vehicle. All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks so much, Team 5. Team 6, please get ready to present. And again, similar to before, please explicitly say next slide, please, to advance the slide. And I will share my screen here. Team 6 all ready to go?
Not yet.
Okay. And all of your team's members are present, right? Okay. So your 8 minutes of presentation begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Next slide. Next slide.
Good afternoon. We're 9th grade students from St. Robert's, and we're looking to share our ideas and innovations to improve the future of condos. We believe that green buildings are the future of urbanization, and we want to use our problem-solving skills to improve the lives of future residents. We aim to promote a modern, sustainable lifestyle. You can go to the next slide.
Our intention is to not only have zero carbon footprint, but also to provide even more green space and aim for a negative carbon footprint. Next slide.
The condo will minimize energy and water consumption, and it will appeal public green space for the community and the visitors, and it utilizes modern technology to improve the experience. Next slide.
So here's our presentation about Green Gardens Condominium, the condominium of tomorrow. Next slide. So the main features of our design include layered bridges. So our condo is split into 2 main residential buildings. And this is our key to massively increase the green space surface area. So our design philosophy is with a height-wise approach, and each bridge is unique in its own functions. And the outsides of the bridges can be used as green space. The excess outdoor spaces is a great way to use the land that exceeds the limit. The ground level shops can bring revenue and accommodate the residents' needs, and the roofs is the final layer of green space. And we have a green patio and maze as our main attraction. Next slide. So our first pillar of design is our layered bridges. So this innovation is what sets our condominium apart from others. They can easily connect the west and east residential wings. And not only do they have their utility-focused uses as different functions for residents, but they provide an exceptional surface area for green space without having to use any ground area at all. So with this concept, our question changes from trying to preserve green space into maximizing it with our design. Next slide.
So on the ground floor, there will be a track or sidewalk around the building, and it is a way to enjoy the green space around the building. And there will also be a ground plaza for residents, visitors, tourists to enjoy the special services. It is convenient for the residents of the condo and surrounding neighborhood, and it allows for easy and fun meetups. There will also be an outdoor park for attraction and fun for the neighborhood and use for the excess green space. And as well, an outdoor gym is basically an exercise as a resident or visitor with fresh air and basic public equipment. Physical equipment includes things such as stationary bikes generating energy. Next slide. So the main building, it's symmetrical on the left side and right side, and each floor contains single bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, hallways, walls, and elevators and stairs. Next slide.
So now to the bridges. We decided to come up with the bridge idea to decrease ground space, but also to maximize the area we have indoors. So we have the bridges on floor 2, 4, and 6. So we don't take up too much ground space. So on floor 2, we have indoor playgrounds. So it's sheltered for bad weather. And there's a resting area for parents, which includes charging stations, sofas to relax, and etc. There'll also be an indoor gym. There'll be more equipment than an outdoor gym. And there's touch card entry, which means that only the residences who live in the condo or those who has the residence card will be able to get into the gym. And there'll also be washrooms, waiting areas, and change rooms to facilitate the residences. Next slide. So on the 4th floor bridge, there will be an adult lounge, which can be reserved, or if it's not reserved, then it can be used as a community room for recreation. And there'll also be a senior room. It has the basic features for recreational games, tables, and also chairs, etc. Next slide. So on floor 6, we have a library, which is on the top floor, so it's quiet and has less disturbances. And there's self-service book machines, so no one needs to be there to supervise them. And the books can come from donations, also secondhand books from the library. And there will be studying tables and carpeted floors, also beanbags to suit everyone's needs. And there will also be other donation boxes as well. So for example, there'll be non-perishable foods, money, etc. Next slide.
Finally, on the roof, there will be solar panels that self-rotate, and this increases efficiency because they can work longer. There will also be a small maze as just like a fun activity to do for everyone. And additionally, there will also be a garden for extra green space, and this is also good for the environment. Next slide. And this is our next focal point. The rooftop will be a relaxing, quiet space for residents. The garden and maze attraction will attract a lot of people, and defining the physical trait of our building along with the bridges. Next slide.
Here's our energy efficiency plan for the apartment. Next slide. So we're using a combination of solar and geothermal energy. So they both have a high front-end price, but that's because they're both investments for the future, both ecologically and economically. So the best part about them is that they don't require that much maintenance and supervision, and they're very, so geothermal is very stable since the geothermal heat in the earth is always there. Next slide. So why are we using geothermal? North of Lake Ontario, there isn't that much geothermal activity in the earth, but we can use the water used in geothermal in versatile and intuitive ways. So in arid environments like Dubai, the Burj Khalifa skyscraper uses water that's pumped height-wise throughout the building, and it maintains the temperature and humidity easily. So we can expand this idea, even though we're not in a skyscraper, but we can use this water to water the green space plants on the outside and inside of the buildings. And the water can also be open as like a tank, a waterfall tank for tourist attraction. Next slide.
So our condo will revolve around AI-based technology system. This means that there will be automated supervision of energy use based on observational data. This will allow us to find the most efficient way to spend the energy. And as for COVID protocols, there will be touchless building entrance and services. There will be hand sanitizing stations set up, and we'll focus on keycard entrance, including services like elevators and stairwells on the ground floor. This means that if you aren't a resident, you cannot access the residential areas to provide more security and privacy. There will be automatic doors, toilets, sinks, dryers, water fountains, and a lot more to reduce the contact points and make it safer. We will also monitor air quality to improve ventilation system. Our open water and green spaces purify the air quality and reduce risk of bad air. In more compact spaces like our gyms, there will be medical grade filtration systems that will assist, especially because of the increased respiration. Next slide.
30 seconds left.
Next slide. As for our materials, internally, this is a mid-rise building structure, so we have wood framing as a structural skeleton. Our steel and reinforcements and concrete foundations act as the main parts of our building. Non-residential areas have a concrete foundation with removable carpet on top, and our retail stores can opt to change their flooring. Externally, our outside will be floored with stone. We will have concrete foundations on the ground floor. There will be tempered glass windows with aluminum or steel framing. We'll have natural clay bricks to make up this remainder of the size of the building, and steel and wood will account for the bridges and rooftops with a plant-based pad. Residentially, we'll have bamboo as a flooring. These have beautiful texture and a bright color scheme. A tung oil finish helps the bamboo last longer. Kitchens and bathrooms can be tiled with ceramic. Public spaces, they will have pour-in-place rubber, a soft yet durable material to make it safer for children. Playgrounds are mainly steel or aluminum alongside recycled plastic parts. And sitting areas such as benches will be made from steel or aluminum. And we have an evergreen hedge maze on the roof with space for gardens and patios. Next slide.
Please wrap up this slide because you've finished your time.
All right, so allow me to expand a bit more on bamboo. We are using bamboo due to its qualities as a building material. It has a very high tensile strength, matching head-to-head with steel. Its strong fibers allow it to last just as long or even longer when treated compared to other materials like steel and wood. In the case of our residential rooms, we found bamboo to be the most advantageous, as after being treated, its texture can look on par with wood flooring, and its surface allows for easy cleanups in comparison to carpet flooring. And finally, bamboo is a very eco-friendly plant material, as it is the fastest growing plant, making it easier to replenish after harvesting.
Thank you, Team 6. I will now open up the floor to questions by the judges. And again, they will have access to your slides, so they will be able to see the work that you have put in. So judges, please, Judge Howie, please begin your questioning.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. Very smart presentation there. Follow up on the geothermal slide. You mentioned about water display. How are you handling the water hygiene?
Sorry, can you repeat the last part?
The hygiene of the water, because like you are creating a waterfall that is exposing the water. You mentioned inside of the building and also outside of the building too, right? So like how would you manage the hygiene side of things?
Okay, so the water used in geothermal energy often ends up as gray water. So we can keep reusing this water to water the plants, and it's regularly exchanged as in like regular geothermal like energy usage. Does that answer the question?
In terms of bacteria growing and other things that is in the water, because it is exposed to the ambient air, right? So how would you handle those, say, bacteria is growing in the water that you are reusing?
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. It's the waterfall is going to be in a tank, so it's more like touchless to the air. And there will be ways for the water to leave the tank and go into the air, but like mist, as that's the best for watering plants without like that much disaster or anything.
Okay, thank you.
Furthermore, with your geothermal energy, is your geothermal energy source, is that on-site creation, or is it through a system that's off-site?
Yeah, we're getting the energy from offsite. So, but the water normally used in the exchange of the energy to like the steam to power the generator, we can use that water again to water the plants.
Okay, thank you. And the other question is, on one of your slides, you indicated you have interactive green space. Can you just elaborate a little bit more on the interactive nature of the green space?
Sure. So the green space we have, there's a maze on the rooftop, so people can go in there, and it's not just for view, but instead like people can actually have fun in there. And also we have green space like in the park below on the ground floor too. And if any of my team members want to add on, feel free.
Okay, so the roof has a lot of surface area, so there's many uses we could put into it other than the maze. So we can set up gardens for the residents to use. They can plant whatever they want, except it might be closed during the winter due to the weather conditions. But other than that, we have a lot of other green space areas inside the park.
And also, there's going to be a track on the ground floor, and like people can walk around and they can like see all the green space.
Great, thank you.
Judge Sujita, please go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, nice presentation. And I have one quick question. So on the roof plan, you are showing the solar panels, right? So it's like the geothermal is the main and then the solar is like a backup, or is that how it works? And like how you're gonna distribute the load? Like what's your plan?
So like I said, we have AI management of energy usage. So depending on our input from both solar and geothermal, we can figure out which one we want to rely on the most. So let's say, for example, our solar panels aren't providing as much as our geothermal. We can divert the solar energy to more minor uses of energy, especially for our things like our electrical charging stations in our parking lots. Those don't use as much energy and don't have to be diverted from the geothermal section. We can use the geothermal mainly on the building, and our solar panels for more minimalistic uses of it.
Okay.
If I may add on, so the reliance and the consistency of the geothermal makes up for the fact that solar isn't always available during the nighttime or when it's cloudy. So that's why we have the two sources of energy covering for each other.
Yeah. Thank you.
We still have some time for one more question from the judges. Howie, do you have another one?
Yeah, I can cover that. So going back to that water tank. So you mentioned about the mist watering the plants. So help me to visualize. When you water the plants, are you watering from the outside or like from the root side of the plant? Because like you say, using the mist of the water to provide the water for the plant. So like, is it exposed like from the outside or like is it from the inside? Like try to help me to visualize.
Yeah. So the mist isn't really that much of a necessity, but it's also, it has a dual function of maintaining the humidity of the air inside the building. But lots of the water for the plants is also going to come from the inside, the soil. Since we have the plants resting on pretty unconventional locations, such as the ceilings of the bridges to maximize the green space, we need a way to reliably distribute the water.
Okay, so probably underneath those plants. Okay. Yeah, just one thing to consider. The reason why I'm asking about the water hygiene is because there are for heating and cooling or air handling, there are scenarios that there are airborne disease that are attached to water. Water mist is actually one of the medium to affect the bacteria to grow and also causing the spread of disease. So that's the reason why I'm asking all this. Yeah, thanks a lot. Good job.
Thank you.
Great. Jim, did you have a question?
At this point, no, I think everything's been answered and along the way. So good presentation.
Okay, great. So thanks everyone, teams 1 to 6, for your wonderful presentation. So the other room's actually running a bit long. So we just need to wait a couple of minutes for them. But in the meanwhile, you can complete, while we're waiting, the feedback survey, so you can enter for a chance to win the $50 gift card. So I'm pasting that link in the thing right now. So after that other team is done, you can also feel free to go to the other breakout room. I'm not sure if can someone let me know if you have the ability to actually do that? But if not, you can always complete the feedback survey, and that team should be done soon, within the next 10 minutes, and we'll be wrapping up. Okay, link works, so that's good.
And thank you, Sharon, for hosting.
No problem.
You have been doing a good job.
I'm very impressed by all of the presentations. It's well beyond everyone's level, really. Very impressed. These are really cool plans and ideas, and considering that I'm a environmental engineer and I work with actual teams of engineers that does this on a daily basis, they come up with these site plans along with planners and make sure that it's all feasible. It's really cool to see how many future engineers we have in this room.
Yes, and I'm really impressed by the extent of research that they did conduct throughout this project. Like, all the teams has their strength and different focus on their research and also how to implement them. And I'm really happy to see the teams are using or utilizing what they know best to present their ideas to us, and really appreciate everyone taking their effort and time, and also the support they gathered while preparing for these presentations. Really impressed. Thank you.
I'd like to add to that there was the presentations were beyond what I figured that we would get. And there was a lot of research, very good research done and gathered. There were some considerations that were a little out of the realm, but this is the future coming. So this may make a lot of difference. Thank you again.
Great. So we're just holding on until the other team finishes. But just so everybody knows, the judging panel is composed of engineers, actual engineers of various types and engineering training. So for our room in particular, it is Howie, Jim, Marsha, and Sujitha, who dedicated their time on many days and weekends developing the problem, developing the evaluation criteria, and then of course looking at your presentations today and soon after today, judging it. So very grateful for all of the volunteers' time, and of course the judges Frank, Joe, Lita, and Oliver in the other room.
Yeah, perhaps like each of us maybe introduce ourselves, like what do we do in our daily life, or like in the past, what have we been doing? So perhaps I will start first. So I'm Howie, and my past experience in my professional engineering life, or EIT, I have been in the building service for HVAC, which is heating, ventilation and air conditioning. Like you probably notice now, like I keep asking those kind of questions, right? So like that is my expertise from day one.
Engineering RGB tower. So for our entire plot of land, we have our building and a garden on top. Surrounding the building will be tarmac, and to the furthest right, we will have extra parking space. We have it to the right side, so it does not conflict with parking space at Tim Hortons. Environmental friendliness and materials used. Our materials are glass, clay bricks, as well as concrete and rebar for our exterior and frame. And for our interior, we will be using cherrywood and bamboo, as well as marble. Why are we using glass? First of all, glass is a very sustainable and very easily recyclable material, as all you need to do is just throw it into a furnace and then eventually mold it back into a glass window or anything you'd like. Glass is also very cheap because so many people use glass bottles to also constantly recycle them. Glass is also used for much more than just a simple lookout outside of your building. The reason for this is that it can make your building look more stunning and more modern. Why clay? Clay bricks are very sturdy, making them require less maintenance, which also makes the building more eco-friendly. Clay bricks are also very cheap as they range from only 90 cents to $1, which is very cheap. Why concrete? So concrete and rebar are the most common materials to build the frame of a building. As concrete on its own is already decently sturdy, rebar adding onto it makes it almost unbreakable. They are also made both out of recycled materials, but there's a small problem of carbon emissions, but the cement industry is already trying to reduce them. Why cherrywood? Cherrywood has great aesthetics. It is stiff, durable, and non-bendable, and it is very sustainable as it is one of the most easily harvestable woods. Why bamboo? Bamboo has the greatest sustainability in woods, and it also has very good looks. It adds a dash of green indoors, which is always just great. It is also very easily replaceable as it is very cheap. Why marble? Marble is scratch resistant and hard. It looks very modern and it looks great as I've seen so many kitchen appliances use marble.
Property features. Okay, next slide. Sustainable transportation. First, we will have green charging stations. Basically, there will be 10 charging units outside on the parking lot. Also, we will have a car share system where people will carpool with each other with paying a monthly fee. And we will encourage people to use Tesla Model X's to reduce gas emissions. And finally, we'll have bike racks to encourage biking, as most people don't bike because they don't have anywhere to put them, and it will increase the number of people that are willing to bike. Biking is also one of the best transportation without any pollution, as it needs no fuels or coal. Next. On-site waste disposal. There will be a chute on every floor to toss garbage to a lower tunnel, which can bring it off-site. Subject will press button before putting garbage in. There will be 3 separate chutes. So one goes into organic, one goes into non-organic, one goes into recyclables.
The energy efficiency. Next slide. Okay, so energy efficient features. To maximize the building's thermal protectiveness of the residents, we would have insulated walls, floors, and ceilings. We would also have high performance windows, draft-proof doors, and window gaps to prevent from the outside cold air entering into the building. We would have a ventilation system to maintain good air quality within the building and preventing buildup of moisture inside of the building. Energy efficiency features continue. We'd build more windows towards the sun. This allows us to use natural heating in colder climates. Awnings or blinds would be installed to prevent the heat from entering during warmer climates. This prevents the overusage of heaters and air conditioners. Lights. We'd use LED lights as it could save up 75% of the energy compared to normal lights. Using light sensors to detect if someone is leaving or entering the room could also save electricity. And then, previous.
Safety features. Wait, no.
Previous slide.
Brian, go back. Yeah.
Solar panels. Solar panels are a sustainable way of creating free energy power. They would be installed on top of the building's elevator motor, and some would be installed on the roof.
Great, safety. For locks, we are going to use finger and face and fingerprint recognition locks, and they're going to be stationed on external doors and doors leading to personal apartments. And they are going to be optional. And so what this does is it prevents possible intruders going into the buildings and apartments, and they're also going to be programmable for multiple users in case there are multiple residents or guests that could be arriving into the house. Security cameras. So specifically, they are going to be from LORAC. And so these will help us see suspicious or inappropriate activity as well. These are all electric. It allows for the buyer to feel safe, encouraging more buyers. And it will only be stationed in public areas, like, for example, halls, hallways, or maybe lobbies. Fire safety. So obviously, fire is a main concern. And so we are going to use Nest Protect smoke alarms, so these specific models will alert you on your phone, which helps especially when you leave your home, and so they can alert you even when away from home. And so these have less false alarms, and they don't have any annoying alarms, making them more efficient. And so we also are going to have fire extinguishers stationed in hallways and public areas like lobbies. So these are convenient locations for anyone maybe escaping fires who need to put out a quick fire. We are also going to have sprinklers inside rooms when the temperature reaches 74 degrees so that they can spray out water in case of an actual fire.
Environmental design. What would a green building be without plants? Wait, can you go on? Next slide, please. What would a green building be without plants? Flowers, bushes, trees, vegetables, and bike racks. As the majority of the plot of land is already occupied by the building and parking lot, we'll plant oak and aspen trees on the sides of the building and sidewalk to provide more shade and oxygen, with some signature maple trees to go along with it. Dwarf burning bush and echinacea bushes for splashes of fall color, and flowers for roses and tulips as the classics. Vegetables include tomatoes, an easy plant to grow along with chives, asparagus, and daylilies, all beautiful and a variety of colors. And finally, as I mentioned in the sustainable transportation, we'll also be including bike racks by the building.
I'm so sorry, you guys, but I'm going to have to cut you off there due to time restraints. We're just over 8 minutes now. So thank you for presenting. I know you only got a couple slides left, but unfortunately, we're going to have to stop there. So I'm going to go ahead and here, hold on one second. Okay. So thank you very much for presenting. We're going to, sorry, let me just get my video. Yeah, so just slightly over 8 minutes there. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we're going to do a Q&A period now. We're going to go to the judges. We have a question from Lida. Lida, if you want to ask your question, you can do so now. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for your presentation. So my question is about the creativity of your design. So could you please explain which part of your design is the most creative one that you have chosen in your opinion?
So for creativity, I'd like to assume that our trash chutes were actually pretty smartly designed, as I've actually never seen a trash chute with more than one section in any building. So as I've explained before, our building has 3 different trash chutes, all connected to one main chute. And this is actually, in my opinion, pretty creative because this actually prevents a lot of jamming and backlogging. And since each of them will be for one piece of trash, one type of trash, sorry, it also reduces the wait time and complexity of any type of trash.
So you mean that there are specific routes for trash disposal in your design? Did you consider?
Yes, in our waste disposal design, we have 3 different routes for any type of trash to go through.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, great. Let's hear from Frank Fang, who has a question. Frank?
Thanks, Sammy. So I saw that you had one last slide you didn't get to cover, and I'm very interested in what you have found for the development at the site. So yeah, I would like to give you this opportunity to just briefly talk about it.
Okay, so we have 2 slides that we didn't share. One was our diagram, and the other was why we shouldn't actually build a building. So while we were researching on the plot of land, we actually saw quite a few results that told us the plans were actually not good for the environment. Hold on, my dad's calling me. Pardon.
So I'm just going to bring the presentation back to the reference.
Sorry. So during our research sessions, we found 2 websites that documented some complaints on a development of a 6-story building in the area. So there are a lot of issues like privacy because nearby, all of the houses were 2 stories. And as this apartment building was 6 stories, it would be kind of overlooking every other building. So there would be some privacy issues. So seeing as the height of the building that you guys told us to design and the number of residents will still be the same, there will also be many traffic issues which will transfer over into our design. And as you've also told us to build stores into the apartment, this will only worsen the traffic that goes outside, and living conditions of nearby residents outside of our apartment building will not improve and will actually get worse. So instead of having a few extra suburban homes in this area or having such a large apartment building, we found that it would be much easier to just leave it empty. And that would not only be the easier solution, it would also just be better.
Okay. So because I work on some of the class environmental assessments myself for municipalities, I just want to provide some comments on that as well. It's quite common for new developments to face the challenge of opposition. It doesn't always mean that's the end of the project. There are reasons that we want high density residential buildings in areas, especially like an urban core in town of Newmarket. It provides affordable housing and it provides improved access to transportation. So to some extent, we're reducing the amount of grid lines we have to take away for single family homes. And we are reducing the need for driving because you can see the Viva is right at the front door. So there are a couple of things that the developer can do to obtain the support of the community. They could provide recreational facilities or attractive landscaping on their site and make it available to the community free of charge. So that's like a residential benefit provided to the community as a result of development. Another thing they can do is to make, I think I've heard that some developers do make donations to community improvement programs, either the addition of speed bumps, the establishment of new traffic lights. It's something that they could do to kind of keep the project going. But I I know it's not like a major element of this design competition, but I really appreciate you guys actually taking the effort to research about it. So yeah, good job on that. Thank you.
Could I explain something else about
thank you.
This?
Sure.
So there's also another factor, which is the economic factor of all of the houses in the area. So with such a large building in the area and probably being quite cheap to both manufacture and live in, we're assuming that it would lower all of the prices of many other houses in the area. So we didn't really think that would really improve them. But as you've said before, we're actually kind of benefiting them with creating recreational spaces.
Yeah, the housing price is more of a complicated consideration. But yeah, there are official plans to the city that they will have to allocate some of the new populations every year. And this is just one of the few approaches that city is trying to do to make sure we have a sustainable growth instead of, yeah. So yeah, again.
Sorry, I'm just getting a notification for time right now. We have a question from Oliver that we want to address. Oliver, if you can keep it brief, that would be great. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Sammy. Just a quick question to the team. You mentioned about the CO2 release due to the cement and concrete use. And looking at your building here, it's I will say the structure is majorly using concrete and steel structure. So can you tell me, you did mention that the cement industry is doing something. Can you mention me one aspect that you saw in terms of reducing carbon emission from your research?
So I was just looking at an article from Princeton, I believe. So since concrete is like created from a sort of grainy blends of like a material such as stone and maybe sand, when it is actually created, the process already actually has pretty little carbon emissions, but like after it's created, the cement actually is actually the real problem of carbon emissions. So they have like cement has around 10% of global emissions in the world. And what I found somebody tried to create a solution for is they will be substituting the cement with waste materials, such as blast furnace slag and coal ash. Mm-hmm. So limestone is one of the main products in creating cement, which in creating limestone also creates a lot of carbon. So just substituting the limestone with something else, such as a waste material like blast furnace or slag and coal ash, like I've said before, can definitely reduce a lot of carbon emissions in the production of the cement, as well as just placing it down.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're a little bit over time. So Judge Joe, I apologize. We're not going to be able to get to your question. We're going to have to move a little bit quickly and get into the next presenter now. But we will, for the next one, we will definitely pick you first for questioning. Okay, so the next group, we have Team 8. And I'm just going to get that presentation ready. Team 8. Okay, and if Team 8 could get ready, please, I am going to give control to either Kenny, Kevin, Tuli, or Azan. If one of you want to take control.
Hi, I'm going to take control.
Okay, great. And who would that be?
Kenny.
Kenny. Okay, so I'm going to give that to you now. Okay. Kenny Zhang. Yeah, got it. Okay, so you should have control of the presentation now. And whenever you're ready, we will start the time, and good luck.
Wait, where's like our presentation? Because it's not here right now.
It's yeah, no problem. It's actually here. Just if you go down here to is that? Do you see that now? Still nothing. Oh, I got it. You know what? Sorry. I just give me 1 second. That's my bad. Hold on. There. Okay. Now it should be. Oh, but now I have to give you control. Let's do that again. Okay. There.
All right. Welcome to our presentation of our engineering proposal for the building between Davis Drive and Penn Avenue. Our names are Kevin, Tully, Essen, and Kenny. As you know, the criteria requires us to construct a 6-story building on a plot of land with the area of 4,980 meters squared. The building must contain retail floors and residential areas, and it must have minimized environmental impacts and a creative design.
Some considerable aspects of this criteria can include features for pedestrians, bikers, and drivers, as well as features to encourage sustainable transportation. Environmental features such as cleaning man-made waste could also be considered to make it eco-friendly. The material used on the outside as well as the inside of the building could help reduce environmental costs of the structure. Water heating, water cooling, and air ventilation features could be beneficial to keep the area clean and also help reduce the spread of COVID-19. Security, safety, and accessibility features would also help make the area more desirable to live in compared to the competition. In our presentation, we will discuss 4 major topics on our proposal. The first shall be the area layout, describing what we put in the property, including minor descriptions of each floor. The second shall be the design of the building, including a rough layout of each floor, along with a rough design of what the building would look like if it was built. Of course, keep in mind that the diagrams are not perfectly to scale. The third topic will discuss benefits of the proposal for the residents and the environment. The final topic will be on the reasoning behind each decision we have made for the proposal.
To begin, we will explain the area layout of the building. We have roughly a 42 meters by 118 meters site between Davis Drive and Penn Avenue. We have decided to split the given area into 2 sections, a 40 meter by 75 meter building in order to maximize space for apartment units, retail area, and underground parking, and a 40 meter by 40 meter square garden, the fountain, and greenery. The 4th floor of the building will have a 2 meter wide pathway so several people can walk around easily without being too close together for safety reasons. Half the building will consist of retail area, and the other half will have a reception front desk, a waiting room, a miniature arcade, and restrooms. There's also an elevator and stairs for people to get up and down the building. The 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th floors each contain 11 apartment units. Each floor also has a luxury area for residents to relax and enjoy themselves. Floors 2, 4, and 6 have a balcony, while 3 and 5 have a lounge outfitted with television and several couches. The parking lot has a ramp going down, so many parking spaces for all residents and more. There's also a small, healthy restaurant outside.
Secondly, we shall discuss the building contents. As a reminder, the diagrams are not to scale. As you can see from this diagram, our proposal will have 4 unique floor plans. In the garden area, we will have 2 playground areas signified by the light green to the right and the center, with the garden signified by dark green occupying the leftover area and waterways surrounding the garden. It has 4 exits in each different directions of the area. The right path leads into a building.
On the exterior of the building, we will have a few bike racks allowing for easy access for people who prefer to bike to their destinations. Each floor of the building will have an elevator on the right side of the building and stairs to the bottom right. The parking level of the main floor will have parking spaces with appropriate spaces to access. To access the parking space, you can use the ramp to go down and up. The parking space also features a small restaurant area at the top right, designed for the residents. The restaurant is designed as a healthy alternative with food made from the aquaponic on the roof. The first floor is designed as a retail floor. The entrance is on the top right of the diagram, with the garden exit to the left. To the right of the entrance is a welcome reception desk for people to sign in. Below that is a washroom with a water fountain outside of it. And to the left is a waiting room for people to sit, and below that is an arcade for people to play and enjoy themselves. The 4 red areas to the right are all retail areas out for rent. When rented, the renters can use the area to build any form of retail that they want, as long as it coincides with rules made by the government and the local council. This can be a restaurant, store, or other services. The residential floors will have 11 rooms in them, which makes a total of 55 apartment units. 60 was not possible due to space constraints. The room on the right will be slightly larger room for those who would like to pay extra for it. The room in the bottom left is a specialty room.
The image shown here is a representation of what the building could look like. The design has some interesting parts, but does not stand out too much in comparison to the surrounding buildings. You can see roughly what everything could look like.
Now we'll be discussing the composition of the building. The exterior of the building would be composed of recycled materials such as concrete, cement, glass, wood, and steel. With these materials, we can ensure that there are minimal environmental costs while still having strong and sturdy materials. The interior of the building would vary slightly, but would still mostly use recycled or reused materials when applicable, such as wood, glass, textiles, which is basically a fabric, and refurbished technology. However, the majority of the interior would be decided by who lives in the apartment areas and who purchases the retail areas. Basically, the property will make use of recycled materials whenever possible while not giving up on quality. This ensures that the construction of the building will create significantly less waste and pollution compared to other residential areas, as the criteria described. Now we'll be talking on the benefits of our design for both the residents as well as the environment.
Residences building have many more benefits in comparison to other residential areas. First of all, it's easy to get around the building and garden has clear paths. Residents are also provided with healthy foods to eat at the restaurant, and they have the ability to use aquaponics at the top for vegetables to cook themselves. This provides residents with the option to enjoy healthier meals instead of fast food if they wish. They provide balconies and lounges that meet for the rocks and enjoy themselves while also enjoying the sunlight. It's a safe space for everyone, not only residents, welcoming visitors to the garden outside as well as the commercial areas indoors. The building will have more environmentally friendly features than many others. Firstly, you'll have an aquaponic for restaurant food, which reduces waste, feeding the fish with plants, and the plants with fish waste. You'll also have a scenic garden with parks and plants to help reduce carbon dioxide and increase oxygen levels in the air. It's also built with eco-friendly and recycled materials, as mentioned in materials used. The underground parking allows space for lots of cars to park without wasting space.
Here is our final reasoning on why we built what we built. In summary, the building must be accessible to all pedestrians and commuters, have a comfortable living area with clean waste disposal, heating, cooling, and ventilation. It has to be safe for everyone and sturdy and safe from weather conditions, and it must be eco-friendly with eco-friendly materials, transports, and design.
We decided to include certain services in our building based on nearby services, which would be unnecessary to include. Because of nearby services, we wouldn't need healthcare, restaurants, banks, vanity services, grocery stores, pet stores, churches, mail services, and other specific stores. All these services are within a 10-minute drive from our building. Due to the lack of local entertainment services, we have an accessible arcade to not only residents, but to all. The fact that our building is easily accessible for pedestrians and commuters, has a comfortable living space, is located in a safe and friendly environment, and encourages eco-friendliness. This building is much better than many other residential areas. The services are also convenient for residents, and it is made to include services that aren't nearby. The garden also includes lots of greenery and is built with more eco-friendly materials. So in conclusion, this building is superior to the competition in terms of accountability, convenience, and eco-friendliness.
Did we reach the time limit?
Yeah, we're at 8 minutes. I got disconnected. I was okay. We are now going to take questions from the judges. Let me just see here if we have any raised hands from our judges. We have a question from Lita. Lita, go ahead.
Okay, thank you
and
for
then we'll
your
take a question
presentation.
from Joe after.
Yes. So could you please explain about the source of energy for your building? So how you can implement the environmental friendly source of energy in your building? And did you mention about that in your presentation?
I don't think we mentioned it in our presentation, but we could include some solar panels or some other form of clean electricity like hydropower or wind power if possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, great. We'll take a question from Judge Joe. Judge Joe, go ahead.
So great presentation. There's a lot of information I was trying to dive in. So can you tell me a little bit more about for energy management? So when we talk about energy management, we talk about PPP, so which is planet, people, and profit. So, and a great idea that you have the garden building, beside the building there. So did you consider, anything that for water conservation, right? Such as like smart irrigation system that able to help you save possibly about 80% of your water consumption. So yeah, I didn't see too much about relate to the energy management. So maybe you can share a little bit more so that because energy consumption, it does cost a great deal of your operational costs and sustainability as well. So that's number one. And the second question I have is, did you look into the government policy that we have net zero by 2040? So did you look into a little bit more how this plan maybe can be aligned with the government policy? Thank you.
As for the I think it was energy efficiency.
Yeah, energy management.
Energy management, yes. I suppose that in the garden, we do have a little, kind of a river. We could add maybe hydropower into that to maybe conserve on some, use the water to produce some energy. So we don't have to be fully reliant on just one source of energy, like fuel, fossil fuels or like power plants, something like that. So that could be one way we could manage the energy more efficiently.
Okay, Judge Joe, does that answer your question?
I also just looking into the drawing that you have gardens on the top of the building. Did you consider, you did mention about the solar panel that you might consider adding into the building as well?
The garden that's on top of the building is like, it's like
one of the drawing, I think the second drawing that you showed.
Yes, the drawing of like the garden on top of the building is actually, it's called aquaponics. So it's where we grow both like vegetables as well as fish at the same time. Okay. So we decided to put like a restaurant below the main floor, which uses the fish grown as well as the vegetables to make like healthy meals for the residents of the building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
We still have a few more minutes left time for Q&A. If there are any other questions from the judges, now would be a good time. If not, then we're going to be
sure, I can ask a question
to the next. Sure.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on the fire protection installation that you have? What are the consideration and etc.?
So for fire protection, we'll have fire extinguishers in all hallways and areas so that people can be safe. And of course, water sprinklers and smoke detectors. And along with the elevator, we have stairs so people can get out in case of a fire.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, great job, team. We're going to go to the next presentation, which is going to be team number 9. And so that is Noah, Hilda, Michaela, and Kevin. I'm just going to get your presentation ready. And if one of you could volunteer to take control to control the presentation, that would be appreciated. Okay.
I don't think you're presenting.
Sorry?
I don't think you're presenting your screen right now. Like, I can't see it.
Okay. I think you might want to adjust your microphone a bit. It's a little bit loud.
Would you please open their presentation? They ask about Team 9 presentation.
Oh yeah, it's open.
We cannot.
Yeah, it is open.
Please.
It is.
Your screen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
We could not see it.
Okay. Let's go. And who am I giving control to? Noah?
Michaela.
Michaela? Okay.
Sami, just before you go, can you check off the user presenter view in the middle of your, you see right under monitor, just uncheck the user presenter view. The middle, top middle. One more.
Okay.
One more. Yes, right there. And check the user presenter. No, the one below it. Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so when you're ready, you may begin.
So Michaela has control. Hi, my name is Noah.
My name is Hilda.
My name is Kevin.
And my name is Michaela Chan.
Today we will be presenting our apartment building.
About us. Our names are Noah Siolan, Hilda Lee, Kevin Alhilu, and Michaela Chen. We are grade 8 students who attend the French Catholic Middle School Renaissance in York Region. When we heard of this competition, we immediately wanted to sign up because we all have passion for learning, thinking outside the box, and finding solutions to problems.
So our building is a 6-story apartment with 60 rooms, and it features state-of-the-art eco-friendly technology, convenience for residents, many activities, an 80 parking lot underground garage, and an overall beautiful facade.
Table of contents. So we'll be talking about the sustainability, the floors, retail, and extras.
So this is our plan. We have our 6-story residential building. And to actually get into the building, we're going to have a road, which is going to be to enter the underground garage. And then there's going to be a walking pathway for all the residents to get into the building. We have, of course, a Shoppers Drug Mart and a hair salon in the actual building. Then on the lot, we're going to have a park and like basketball courts and many plants, and to make it more green and more enjoyable for the actual residents.
How our building looks. So this is the front view, the right side view, the back view, and the left side view where the garage is situated.
Sustainability.
So our environmental statistics, 64%, there's been a 64% increase of electric car sales in the last 2 years. 81% of real estate customers think it's important to be environmentally sustainable. So as you can see from these statistics, being eco-friendly is extremely important. Just from the sheer increase of 64% of electric car sales, you can see that more and more people are becoming more sustainably minded, and they take sustainability into account when making decisions. So ultimately, if we're able to make a carbon neutral building, then that could definitely help our residents choose to live inside of this building.
Solar panels. This will help provide power and electricity for the building. We called solar panel Utopico Co. They confirmed that we would need approximately 1,000 meters squared of 10 kilowatts solar panels to power this building. Additionally, we've included green areas. Green areas throughout this building will make the air more fresh, and it would improve the aesthetic for residents. A lot of green space will also be calming and relieve stress from our residents, which is something that we find good. Not to mention, we've already put also electric charging stations that are necessary due to the increase of electric vehicles. We also want to promote the use of electric vehicles for a green future of Ontario.
Ground source heat pumps. Ground source heat pumps have been an established technology for more than 75 years, invented by Peter von Rittinger. This system propels cold or hot fluids down, and the opposite comes back up, where it creates heat or cooling for the building. While the system is expensive to build, its efficiency and low maintenance costs make it worth the money. On average, a ground source heat pump can save you 30 to 50% more money than a regular fossil fuel system.
The floors and rooms. Floor overview. We will have 6 floors. The first floor will be occupied by retail and the other 5 floors by residents. To reach each one of these floors, there will be a glass elevator on the outside of the building. Every room will have approximately 1,000 square feet of space. There will be 12 rooms on floor 2, 14 rooms on floors 3 to 5, and 6 penthouse rooms on floor 6, which would be approximately 2,000 square feet. On floor 2, there will be an activity room approximately 2,000 square feet featuring art supplies, a piano keyboard, and a small movie theater. On floors 3 to 5, there will be a room located for trash and recycling, a party room approximately 2,000 square feet for when large amount of guests come over to a resident's house. So this is the second floor layout. On the left-hand side of the building, there's a party room and activity room. The rest of the space is for residential rooms. Third floor and fifth floor layouts. There will be a lounge on the bottom left side of the building, and the rest of the rooms are for residents. Penthouse layout. There are 6 penthouses and a hallway on the right.
Retail on floor 1. So this would be the main floor's layout. On the bottom right, we have the hair salon and spa, which provides a calm place for people to relax and take care of their mental and physical health, as well as they would be able to take haircuts and stuff like that, which provides more of a convenience like right now when we're stuck in COVID. And on the top right, we have the Shoppers Drug Mart, which improves more convenience for people who aren't able to drive cars or like don't have such a convenience to go to other places. Additionally, this would be very beneficial due to the fact that COVID exists, and this would be a place where people would be able to get food conveniently. Additionally, on the top left, we have a swimming pool and a gym, which gives people a place where they can work out and improve their physical health. And especially during COVID, where gyms are like closed and stuff like that are going all out, people will be able to have a membership and go there and like be able to work out. And on the bottom left, we have the reception and main lobby for people who are entering the building to stay on the main floor. So factors to take into consideration when choosing between retail options. So what we thought of was, would it cause unnecessary noise, attract wildlife, cause foul odors, large amount of garbage disposal? What would the hours of operation be, and what would our residents appreciate? And we've came to terms that a Shoppers Drug Mart, as well as a pool and gym and hair salon, would be something that covers all these and don't cause as much trouble as many other retails that might cause.
On floor 1, there will be a Shoppers Drug Mart, a hair salon, and a spa. The Shoppers Drug Mart will offer a range of food, medicine, snacks, and makeup. No one will have to leave the building this way. The hair salon will be a clean, noiseless, and money-making business that people will love. The spa will offer a calm area to relax and take care of your physical and mental health.
Other aspects of our building. So the building extras is going to be a pool. The pool on floor 1 is going to create an area for socializing and workout for parents and kids so that they can make a community and be less likely to leave our building. There's going to be a gym, which is going to offer free fitness, which is going to help everyone want to live here more, because obviously a gym membership is expensive. And if you can find a building that offers free fitness with good gym equipment, I don't know anyone who would say no to that. There's going to be a movie theater, and we plan to have kids' movies playing on Friday nights, so to help kids and parents socialize and become friends. Then we're going to have a community garden where people can plant their own food and then make their own organic meals. And so this is going to be run by the actual residents of the building to help create community. There's going to be a park, which is going to include a play area for the kids, swings and slides, and then a basketball court for the older people and teenagers so that they can stay active and have fun. Then finally, we have a party room, which is going to be able to accommodate large amounts of guests when someone has a party over at the building. And instead of having it at their little small apartment, they could rent out this party room so that we won't have any noise complaints and so that there won't be any problems with the other residents. These are our resources, and thank you for listening to our presentation.
Okay, thank you so much from that team for presenting. We will now take questions from our judges. Okay, let's just see. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, here, that's easier. Okay, we got a question from Judge Joe. Judge Joe, go right ahead.
Yeah. First of all, I really enjoy your presentation. Great that it's amazing that you actually consider the sustainability that using both solar energy, but as well as the ground source heat pumps. So I think that's really impressive. And especially you have put a great consideration about the mental health, especially during this pandemic time. So which is amazing. I guess my question would be, how about the water conservation? Because I guess you mentioned about different in waste management and a lot of in electricity conservation, but maybe you can tell me a little bit more on water conservation or water management that you have in mind for this.
So like the hot and cold water would become from the geothermal energy. So like to heat the water up, it can also heat like the water. And you're thinking to just get the water from like a water well or a well on the outside of the building, or just from the local water plant or place.
Maybe you can even consider natural resource like the rain. But overall, it's a great presentation. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you from Judge Joe. Appreciate that. Let's move on to Frank, Judge Frank, who has a question. Judge Frank?
Thanks. Hi, team. Great presentation. Just wondering, for this design, what was the favorite part of your design and what was the biggest challenge that you faced in this design?
For the favorite part of this design would be probably building this design by ourselves and like coming up with the ideas. Like simply like just being in a software and being able to like make something that you've always dreamed of making and making it into a model that you can actually see what's going on is something that has really empowering and like really cool. But one of the hardest things were just planning out how big everything should be and what would be the best choices of retail. For example, we've thought about putting a bakery, but wouldn't that like be conflicted with the Shoppers Drug Mart? And additionally, we had a grid, so we had to plan out how much each square would represent and how much meter squares would each room be and how would we fit these 60 rooms instead of just saying, oh, we'll just put 60 rooms in this building with no elaboration. We thought this would be something that would be hard to make a layout of, and after all, we used a program and we were able to make a really good layout that we're able to have a good visual and things became way more clear.
Thank you.
Okay, great. We're going to take a question from Judge Oliver. Judge Oliver, go right ahead.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. So just maybe a little outside of the box question here. So I can see in your proposal, you have a lot of retail presence. You have a lot of like a theater, a spa. So in terms of the spaces that you gave to those retail and wellness of residents, basically you're losing a lot of space for the actual residents where you can, sell those units, I guess. What was your original consideration, in terms of, the amount that the revenue that you can generate by doing that building compared with all this space that you gave away for wellness, for community? What was your original consideration?
Our original consideration is that if we don't put as much wellness and other stuff like this to our building and give the space to people, essentially people wouldn't be as interested. As we all know, there's tons of apartments and buildings out there that are just like this, with like just tons of residential area, and there's like not enough wellness for them. And especially during the pandemic and all this, we thought that if we provide such area, that would be something that would improve everybody's mental health. And this would give them a more want to like be in this apartment. And additionally, we also provide membership for like the going to the pool and gym. So that would also cost money. And even though it might not be as much as a house or like an apartment, it will be worth longer in the long term due to the fact that this apartment is going to stay for years and years. And if like 60 residents and 30 of them want a membership, we're going to make money over in the years, and that would be better in the long term over the short term because we're building a sustainable building and it's not going to be short term, and this would be a good long term investment.
That ground source heat pumps, for example, can last for up to 50 years. And so we were thinking we needed something to separate us from all the other different condos and apartment buildings out there. And we thought by adding all these things, this could really help people make a decision and choose our building instead of just going to one that just has residential and all the basic necessities.
Okay, great answer. Thank you.
Okay, great. And we're going to take a question from Lita.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. That was really interesting. My question is about the idea of making a smart building. So if you want to make your design a smart building, what kind of features of a smart buildings could be implemented in your design?
Buildings and smart features that we could implement would certainly be like cards, codes, so like people can have cards so that they could go into their rooms, as well as like many features such as like we could add like robots for like COVID, like they could be able to deliver the stuff from Walmart, like Super Shoppers Drug Mart, and they would be able to provide these services. Instead of using like humans in the future, we could be using like these robots so that we could provide like less spread of COVID and like help in general. And we would also be able to like have less payment to like workers. Instead, we could be using robots. Therefore, that would improve like the spending of, and cost of the building.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. So that's awesome. That's great for time. So we're gonna go ahead and shift to Team 10 now.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kirk.
My name is Arthur.
My name is Isha.
And my name is Ashita. Today, we would like to present a proposition for Project Green. The controls aren't working.
Okay, so let's start off with the basics. The following slides will include a rough outline of what was expected and a brief explanation of our goals. The main goal was to develop a self-sustainable lot on an empty space north of Davis and east of the Longford Drive. We had to include an apartment building with retail and recreational space. So we need a minimum of 60 apartment units, additional structures, and an environmentally friendly space that would not compromise user experience. So our aim was to create a productive and realistic site that took into account ecological footprint, safety, accessibility, and other costs. One of the main dilemmas of our project was finding a renewable way to power 60 apartment units, which required a lot of energy. This issue required us to think outside the box and will be addressed later in the presentation.
Now, let's move on to the layout. This section entails our building perimeter, outdoor features, and the logic of our structural placements. We are given a set area for the building, 1,500 meters squared, and so we chose dimensions of 40 meters by 37.5 meters. This is the smallest possible perimeter, which meant less material usage in construction and thus less waste. We took inspiration from our community's features, such as our local parks for the outdoor features. Our greenhouses were more challenging. We explored different ideas so that we could introduce something novel, vertical gardens. Typically, when we think of gardens, we imagine them to be horizontal. But vertical gardens have a huge advantage in which they have less space and less environmental impact. We use this method of vertical plantation again later for renewable energy. Now, let's talk about structural placement. Our main concerns were convenience and accessibility. For this image, the building is to the left of the lot, and the parking lot is easily accessible next to it. The right side consists of the greenhouse and a large park consisting of recreational structures and green space, all including sidewalks for accessibility.
Section 3 explores the materials we use to guarantee green infrastructure, interior design choices, and other building factors. When it came to external materials, we had to consider 3 things: the eco-friendliness of the materials, their stability, and the aesthetic. We settled on concrete clay masonry with a mixed steel frame and timber for detailing. Concrete clay masonry has a professional look and can be recycled and repurposed after use, which means that even in demolition, this building would be eco-friendly. We had more freedom with interior materials since stability isn't as important. We decided to use reclaimed wood, precast concrete, and paper composite, all secondhand materials not requiring the additional harvest labor. There are a few additional things we have to consider when it comes to the interior, like the insulation material and color scheme. We decided to use plant-based polyurethane for an environmentally friendly insulation, and a brown and blue color theme, with the brown mainly consisting of different wood types.
Up next is Section 4, Sustainable Energy. This section will include some further usage of vertical gardens, as well as our solution to our problem of utilizing pure renewable energy. We will be reviewing the renewable energy farms and heating and cooling systems we chose. Renewable energy tends to rely on geographical location. After careful consideration, the main renewable energy sources for our building are solar and biomass energy. These farms do have low energy needs, but we have utilized some tech to solve this problem. Usually when we think of solar power, solar panels are the first thing that come to mind. However, there is technology beyond regular solar panels that we can use, like the Tesla solar roof and smart windows, which embed photovoltaic cells into the glass and make it a stylish way to gather solar energy.
With biomass energy comes our continuation of vertical gardens. Plants in the greenhouse combined with the hanging plants at every balcony means we have plenty of sources to farm biomass energy. We also have a bonus method of generating energy. We can use energy produced by energy harvesting street tiles on the roads. This works similar to a Minecraft pressure plate. Anytime someone stands on the road or vehicles are on the road, energy is generated. Finally, let's move to our heating and cooling systems. A lot of these systems depend on things that are harmful to the environment, such as the common use of air conditioning. For this reason, we use multiple methods to ensure we get to every part of the building. We were inspired by several different places in time, such as the cooling in the Roman Empire. We decided that our building will use a combination of solar heating, fan cooling, steam heating, and cold water running through the walls.
Section 5 is all about safety and accommodations. The following slides will entail our building's COVID-19 protocols and any necessary accessibility adjustments and our security protocols. Our building has two main features to mitigate the viral spread. First one is extensive ventilation system, evenly spaced in both residential and retail areas, and the second is an open concept floor plan of the residential, encouraging social distancing. We also have accessibility features for elevators located in the center of the building for easy access to all residential floors and 2 staircases to prevent overcrowding in case of an emergency like a fire. We also have modified the recreational space to include equal access such as accessibility gyms and comfy chairs in the food court. Finally, to ensure the utmost safety of our customers, we have a few security calls in place. Guests will be greeted by a security guard and each apartment unit will be fitted with a buzzer to ensure privacy of our clientele.
Section 6 covers additional features and other considerations. We'll discuss waste management, offer transportation, parking lots and sidewalks, and our building's response to climate change. The waste is serviceable by the city. Every week, all of the garbage is collected by emptying sorted bins into a large chute in the utility room. Afterwards, we move the waste to the back of the building, where the city can easily take care of it. While our lot is open to most kinds of transport, it only offers bikes, electric motorcycles, and electric buses, so as to reduce the carbon footprint. As seen in our lot layout, we have a large space for parking. But what's special is that it is surrounded by green space and wildflowers, mimicking bees' natural habitat and deviating from the dull face of most lots. The last thing we considered was our response to climate change, and we are proud to present to you the ways in which we hope to not only not contribute to climate change, but even mitigate its effects. Earlier, we mentioned using timber for detailing, but we didn't mention that it absorbs carbon from the atmosphere. Over time, this timber can make our building a carbon-negative building, which is a building that absorbs more carbon in its lifetime than it let out. Our other strategy was to use biomimicry. Pre-industrialization, natural systems were able to thrive without the threat of climate change. Biomimicry tries to use natural systems to create a self-sustaining pattern. In our outdoor spaces, we tried to replicate different places in nature, like our parking lot bee habitat. What's great about biomimicry is that it might just be the next level of being eco-friendly.
This is Team NHS, and we thank you for listening to our presentation.
Okay, great. Yeah, just under 8 minutes. Great job, guys. So we will be taking questions now from our judges. Okay. We have a question from Judge Frank. Judge Frank, go ahead with your question.
Okay, thank you. Great presentation. I really love the energy harvesting street tile idea. Could you tell me more about it? Like I know it's harvesting kinetic energy. Like what is it converted to? And how did you find out about this technology? And in terms of cost, do you know what's the cost for, say, per square meter or per square feet is?
So the kinetic energy, or the pressure plates, were found and used in multiple countries, such as Finland, Sweden, and it was used to for cars and people. So when they walk on it, it translates it into kinetic energy, which then produces energy, which will make, it's like a backup type of energy. So it's not as expensive.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you for your question. Any other judges have questions at this time for Team NHS? Yes, Lita, Judge Lita, go right ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. In the materials section, you mentioned the paper composite. So my question is, in which parts of building this material can be used? And are there any extra safety consideration, fire safety consideration for using this kind of material?
So when designing our interior, we thought that we could use paper composite for flooring, as it has a look that is very similar to wood. And it's really made out of like reused paper and all of that kind of material. So it's really completely eco-friendly, and there aren't many environmental impacts associated and not a lot of safety concerns.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, great. Awesome. Any other questions at this time from the judges? Yes, Judge Joe.
Just a quick questions on the slides of HVAC, if you don't mind to kind of to show that again. And
Sure. Which slide do you want to go to?
there's a slide saying it's talking about the HVAC system, because I kind of missing the last part. Sorry.
Was it towards the end or actually here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Do you know what slide you're referring to?
So sorry. There's like I think it's kind of about 70% of the.
Do you guys want to just take control and see what slide that Judge Joe's referring to?
Coming kind of to the close to the end, I believe.
Thanks. Close to the end? Okay.
Yeah.
Was it the COVID-19 ventilation?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you just passed that.
Just one down.
And the one before, I think.
The one before is the entrance side.
Can you move up? Oh, sorry. Keep moving. Yep.
Go up.
Sorry. That's probably not, anyways, it is probably not the right slides, but maybe you can tell me a little bit more that your concept on the HVAC system, how that plays in energy management and environmental safety.
Sorry, can you say that again?
So,
Judge Joe, could you please repeat the question?
Yep. So there's a slide that mentioned talk about the HVAC system. So my question would be, what was the concept when you're designing the HVAC system in consideration of health and safety, as well as energy management?
So when designing our HVAC system, we were looking at a number of ways that we could provide heating and cooling that didn't require like the burning of fossil fuels. And so we kind of used a mix of a number of strategies, like cold water running through the wall, or steam, which would happen by like heating up water. And in general, all of these methods, they use renewable sources and natural resources. And so we didn't believe that it would cause any safety concerns to our citizens.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. So, all right. So there aren't any more questions at this time. So we will be heading to the next presenter at this time, which would be Team 11.
Okay, so this is our engineering challenge proposal. Next slide.
Here we go.
So our building will have on floors 2 to 6. It'll be 50 by 30 meters. The rooms will be 14 by 7 meters, and the hallways will be 2 by 50 meters. The underground garage will have around 60 parking spaces in total and will be 50 by 30 meters. And the reception area will be 37.5 meters by 15 meters, and the retail/recreation rooms will be 12.5 meters by 15 meters. Next slide.
Let's see. My bad, it's a little difficult to change slides here. Here we go.
All right. So the rooms, each room will have plenty of space, and pricing will be kept at an absolute minimum by lowering energy costs and keeping heating costs down as well. We will later explain how this is done. The underground garage will fit about 60 cars at most, which is enough space for 1 car per suite and much more. Plus, it's not the only parking space, as there's extra space in front of the stores. Next slide.
So here we go.
So the first floor is a reception area with 4 spaces reserved for retail/entertainment. The stores will be connected by each other by doors, and stores connected to the reception area will be locked by code. The reception will have an area for stairs and an elevator near the main entrance. The remaining outdoor area will be reserved for parks and other recreation. The parks will have swings and others related stuff.
So for our eco-friendliness, we will include renewable energy skip the slide. Here we go. For eco-friendliness, we will include solar panels, geothermal energy, and a green wall. The materials we'll be using in the apartment will be recycled steel, concrete, bamboo, glass, polyurethane for insulation, and sustainable decorations as achievable because it is sustainable. More in depth about the solar panels. So they will create, here we go. Solar panels will create energy with a renewable source from the sun. These solar panels can cut a decent amount of money on the cost of basic electrical sources. Geothermal energy. Harnessing energy from within the earth can heat the building or produce electricity from a renewable source. There we go. And our green wall. This will be placed on the outside of the building and will insulate, prevent warm air from leaving the building, and reduce temperature from solar radiation.
Here's our site plan. For our site plan, which is in between Penn Avenue, Davis Drive, and Longford Drive, we have a big underground parking space underneath the main building in a little parking spot full of electric vehicle charging stations and a couple pathways to encourage people to get out and have fresh air. Next slide. Features. Our apartment will have wider hallways for accessibility for people in wheelchairs and other stuff. Our heater and water management will come from Geothermal Energy. And for our retail in the first floor, we will have many small businesses and community-run stores. For solar energy, we researched that. It is 62. Renewable energy is 62% more, is 62% cheaper than any fossil fuels and other stuff. Our electric vehicle charging station is also going to help because there are currently around 65,000
electric vehicle or plug-in hybrid cars in Canada and over 6.5 million in the world. Next slide. Accessibility. We included ramps for handicap because there are, and people in wheelchairs because there are around 290,000 Canadians ages 15 and over that require a wheelchair or a scooter from day-to-day mobility. Braille writing on signs we will include because there are around 500,000 Canadians that are blind or partially sighted. Wide hallways also include accessibility for wheelchairs, so we can have 2 or more people going in other directions. Motion sensing doors will also help with that because they can sense when people are coming and open automatically for them. Fire alarms are also the same thing, and we'll have audio and visual cues for people that are either blind, deaf, or other things. Grab bars and washroom are also useful because if people are handicapped and cannot pull themselves up without any help, they can use this to get up places. Next slide. Oh, that's the same thing. Next slide. Next slide. It's just repeating. Braille force lines will help aid people with impaired vision, and force lines will also be used to indicate or stairs and entryways to let any blind people know about what's ahead, whether it being stairs or elevators. Audio cues will be helped to use blind people navigate around, so there will be cues for doors, elevators, and etc. Ramps and elevators. There will be ramps and elevators around the building to help people in wheelchairs or motor scooters move around. And the elevator will let people with movement disabilities maneuver throughout the building and add convenience for other tenants. Motion sensors will also be for doors and other entryways to allow people who are restricted in movement to conveniently move throughout the building.
My bad. So for our retail that will be included in our first floor will be convenience stores, cafes, drugstores, and healthier options. This is so that people can get convenience inside the apartment instead of having to travel to other locations. And thank you for listening to our presentation.
Hello, hello. You guys can hear me?
You are good.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I'm just having some. Okay. Thank you so much for presenting. We will now take questions from the judges. We have a question from Judge Lita. Judge Lita?
Okay, thank you for your presentation. I noticed that you have done a lot of work focused on the accessibility features of your building. So referring to the audio cues for people who cannot see, did you consider any specific type of communication technology in the building that could communicate to the person and send the voices and audio cues for them? So what kind of communication technology did you consider for that?
I think I got this one. So for our audio cues, the idea is that it could be either from, let's say, a fire alarm, for example, that there will be a loud noise coming into the room so that people will know that that there's a fire and that they should evacuate. And for on this, like if it's for something where they need to just get in touch with some of the other tenants. It can also be used PA systems so that directly from the front office they can communicate with the other tenants in their buildings in their apartment.
So how did you consider a specific audio message to the people with disabilities to receive those cues and to make the building more accessible, but in a specific channels and voice messages to a person who cannot see or have kind of disabilities, and to guide them to the correct route, for example, in the building?
Sorry, are you saying like how would we communicate like specifically? Is that what you're asking?
Exactly. Yes.
So like for example, there will be some like employees, for example, at the reception, like the front desk next to the lobby, they can guide people down the right routes, and so and there could also be possibilities that there could be employees helping people down. So if they, if they're blind or they're hard of seeing and different disabilities like that, then other employees that work in the building can help them to get to elevators and etc.
So could it be a kind of application on their cell phone or PA device?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Is there any other questions from the judges? I think we have time for one more. We're playing a little bit of catch up here. So any other questions from the judges? No? Okay. So we're going to go to the next team now. Thank you to the previous team who presented. And now the final team, Team 12, will get ready. And if someone from Team 12 could volunteer to take control of the screen.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Aiden. Okay. Thank you. Yes, perfect. Okay. And just make sure everyone in your team is in attendance.
Yeah, we have all 4 people.
Okay. Awesome. And just a tip, just a heads up, you can just use the arrow keys to transition slides.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me just go ahead and turn my mic off and my...
Here is our ACPS PEO engineering competition slideshow.
Sorry.
Here's the plot of land for the construction of our building. It's 160 meters by 40 meters.
Site plans.
Here's our overall building plot and building area plans for building. The brown, it's pretty self-explanatory, but the brown parts are building and the gray parts parking.
So this is our ground floor. We have 7 retail store spaces totaling up to around 1,500 square meters. There are 52 parking spots. 3 of them are handicap parking spaces and 5 of them are electric charging stations. There is also a park on the top right to encourage physical activity and bike racks on the bottom right to accommodate for bikers.
So this is our underground level. We have 76 spots in total and 2 handicap spots and 5 electric vehicle charging stations. We have a 15 by 27 meter pool with the necessary accommodations and change rooms and a hot tub. We also have a pretty big fitness area where people can do some exercise, because when we scouted the area around, there wasn't much physical stuff to do.
This is a residential floor. So there are 5 residential floors in total with 12 units on each floor. The blue units are the ones with 1 bedroom and the gray ones are the ones with 2 bedrooms.
This is the roof layout. The roof is arranged to be slanted southwards for drainage purposes and will include drainage pipes along the south side with attached rain barrels for filtration to potable water. There will be a communal and staff area for gardening, a solar panel array, and a mini wind turbine lineup, along with a maintenance and ventilation platform.
Dimensions. The dimensions for the buildings on image A, the dimensions for the retail stores, and the rest of the site plans on image B. The dimensions for the underground levels on image C. The roof dimensions are on image D and the residential area units dimensions are on image E.
Monetary regeneration. There'll be a parking toll for underground parking for the visitors, which will be the following. $1 for 1 hour or less, $2 for 2 hours, $5 for 4 hours, $10 for 8 hours, $15 for 12 hours, and there'll also be a parking toll for above ground parking, which will be $1 for 1 hour or less, $2 for 2 to 3 hours, $6 for 4 to 5 hours, and finally for parking there will be a weekly non-resident membership pass that costs $45, with building residents getting an exclusive monthly membership for $85. Access to the recreational facilities and leisure facilities will cost $3 per use, while residents will have free and unlimited access.
Environmentally friendly transit. We will be partnering with YRT for bus services. We will have a Presto card, which will track if they went on public transit on their way to our building. People who do will get a $1 discount on pool and gym fees. There will be bike racks to encourage cycling, as mentioned before, and electric car charging stations, which are free for residents and visitors alike.
So these are our amenities. We have a 15 by 27 meter pool with change rooms, bathrooms, and showers. As Oscar said, we have residents have access for free, while visitors have a $3 entrance fee. We have a hot tub with the visitors getting access to $3 and a workout facility with all the necessary equipment. We have 60 apartment units with a bathroom, a kitchen, and bedrooms, or bedroom, as we said, and 10 electric vehicle charging stations. There will be a small park next to the building with benches and trees to encourage physical well-being, and the pool and gym will help keep residents and visitors keep fit, as there is no physical activity in the area surrounding the plot. The hot tub will be a pleasant area for people to relax in and feel better about themselves.
Materials. Use of metals. All the metals that we use will be repurposed or recycled because they have a much lower carbon footprint, since we don't need to process raw metals, which has a really large carbon footprint. And we will use metal for the exterior of the building.
Bamboo. Bamboo will be used for framing and scaffolding. It is a very sustainable resource to use because bamboo grows at extremely fast rates. Although bamboo is not suitable for the outside of the building because of its properties, it will make for a great scaffolding material and frame.
Plants. An assortment of plants will be used on a roof in the form of our community garden, as well as placed within the hallways of our building. They will serve as a great insulator and will absorb some rainwater. They will also pull out some CO2 from the air, making our building a more pleasant environment. Interior plants will be used in such a way to make the building appear more aesthetically pleasing and will provide similar benefits to the plants situated on the roof of the building.
Insulation. Our insulation will be composed of 3 layers. The middle layer will be composed of aluminum, slightly curved in such a way that it reflects escaping heat back into the building. There will be a compressed cotton outer layer to prevent the leakage of any heat that escapes the aluminum shielding, and there will be a closed cell spray foam insulation on the interior layer to keep in heat. Drywall. We chose Dura drywall panels because of the following reasons. Dura panels are a fully certified wall that provide good insulation while at the same time being stronger and safer than drywall. They're 100% recyclable and 100% biodegradable. They're also a naturally effective material at minimizing sound pollution, and although there is a major street outside the building, the outside sounds will have minimal impact on the inside. They are a certified fire-resistant material that provides a barrier against the spread of fire while producing no smoke or embers. Dura panels are also 10 times more durable than regular drywall and are made from repurposed and recycled wheat straws. Also, for the exterior, we'll be using the ceramic and brick concrete tiling. Lighting. LED light bulbs will be used for nighttime illumination. They'll primarily use electricity from the roof solar panels and wind turbines in order to minimize grid consumption. Skylights will be put into the roof for staircase lighting, and solar tubes that reflect sunlight will be used for daytime lighting in the hallways. They will help lower overall power consumption. Every residential unit will have LED lights to act as the primary source of lighting. Green initiatives. Rooftop solar panels facing the south produce electricity that will support the building during the day and lower the overall grid consumption. Small wind turbines will help negate the mentally degrading effects of the larger wind turbines while helping to decrease overall grid energy consumption. Geothermal energy will be used to heat the building in the winter and cool the building in the summer. Ideally, underground geothermal energy source will be located on site, such as a hot spring. Additionally, we will use recycled concrete for parking lot construction.
Protection from COVID-19. All frequently touched surfaces will be cleaned daily with sanitization. HEPA filters will be installed all around the building in common areas. There will be a maximum number of people in a certain space, 35 in main lobby and 30 to 50 people per store, depending on the size. There will be regular signs and stickers to remind people to stay 2 meters apart. And we're going to open windows regularly or at least one all the time to get fresh air circulating. We will also have hand sanitizer dispensers all around the building so people can sanitize their hands.
Thank you for listening.
Okay, great job. Let's take our questions now. We have a question from Judge Lida.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. That was very interesting. And my question is related to the lighting system and the solar tubing. So could you please explain a bit more about how you are going to use this solar tubing? And is it only for the top floor or how you can implement it in other floors? Are there specific channels, light channels in the building?
So the solar tubing, currently the plans have it used only for the top floor because they are easy to use for top floor areas, and we have to put a tube in to use it for lower floors. But they can be used for lower floors by using the mirror system that propels the light around for reflection and illumination.
And did you have any research on the cost of these kind of optical system in the building?
We had some research. The main cost comes from the actual installation of these solar tubes because they take up a lot of space with the mirror tubes, and you have to cut a hole in the roof area.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Are there any other questions from our panel of judges? Okay, we have, I see we have a question from Judge Frank.
So I'm just wondering how you decide on the number of electric vehicle charging stations. Is it a percentage of total, or is it what you are expecting the amount of electric cars to be owned by the residents?
It's the number of electric vehicles that we're expecting because we don't believe that all our residents or visitors will have electric vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's take our next question from Oliver, Judge Oliver. Go right ahead.
I'll go last. I'll let Joe first.
Okay, no problem. Judge Joe?
Thank you. So I think my question would be the feasibilities. When you're considering using the geothermal energies, like, did you consider about like feasibilities, the costs? Yeah, that's my question.
We considered the installation of a closed loop system because of the overall maintenance costs of running and the amount of cost it would take to run a open loop system, and we discovered that it was easier to run a closed loop system for longer periods of time.
Did you consider the location as well? Like how close is actually close to the water resources?
Yes, we did consider some of the location, but from my personal understanding of it, the concept is that it uses the temperature from the excavated area in the soil, which will be a certain temperature all around the area.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Judge Oliver.
Okay, so my question is a little bit close to what Joe asked on feasibility. So since you are the last group for today, my question is, you guys also mentioned about the use of bamboo. It's been very popular for today, I guess. I'm just wondering, do you know where will your bamboo resource be from? Do you know if there's any plantation and production of bamboo in Ontario or Canada?
When we started researching it, we didn't find much places here in Canada, but we would have to import it from Latin America is what we found. It would be pretty expensive, but I didn't see a budget, so I thought it would be okay.
Okay, no, thank you for your honest answer. And maybe just a quick comment here for all the teams. Sometime when you do a recommendation and you do really need to see the feasibility, the cost, and we're all talking about sustainability here. I personally, I'm not evaluating the bamboo aspect in your score, but if we don't have that material, it's going to be very cost ineffective, and the transportation of that material will hike up your carbon emission from the transportation. So that's just my comment on this. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So we're just wrapping up now our Q&A there. And that was our final group presenter. So now I believe we should be joining back to the main room. Okay, closing remarks. Next slide, please. We would like to say a big thank you to the PEO York Chapter Education Committee and all of its volunteers. Sharon, Sammy, Hassan, Marsha, Howie, Jim, Sajitha, Oliver, Joe, Frank, Lita, and Kayvon. Next slide, please. Photos. So here are some photos of the team and volunteers from previous events. We are so thankful to have the support of any OSPE, Ontario Society of Professional Engineers, for organizing National Engineering Month for our virtual competition. Lastly, a very special thank you to all of our National Engineering Month partners who are noted in the slide. Join us at other NEM events and check out nemontario.ca for a complete listing of all the events this month. Next slide, please. You can follow us on social media at PEO York to stay updated with the latest events. Okay, just to a refresher for some important information. Results will be available by April 10th, so mark that in your calendars. Math and science is really fun. Keep that in mind when selecting your courses. There are engineers of different backgrounds and interests, a wide variety. And please don't forget to fill out our feedback survey and come join us again next year. Thank you.